What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Come on in, everybody. Hello, Brenda, Designs Laura, Angel Eyes, Angel, Victoria, TC. Thank you all so much for being here. And happy Monday. We are getting ready to start our week off right. I have a really special guest tonight, and I think it's going to be super educational for all of us. We do have we have someone joining. His name is Rob. He is a retired Army military police officer, Army investigator, and civilian police officer. So we're going to be able to pick the brains of someone who, hey, Janet, who has the experience, who has the knowledge, who's worked on so many cases. Throughout his career, he's investigated hundreds of cases ranging from minor offenses to some of the most serious crimes imaginable, including murder, SA, kidnapping. With firsthand experience across the board, the full spectrum of criminal investigation, Rob brings a unique perspective and a wealth of knowledge for us. So I feel like this is going to be super educational for every single one of us. I have a list of questions that I want to ask him tonight. I'm going to open up the chat and let you guys ask questions for him. Him and I have been conversating for quite some time. Him and his wife are amazing. They have so much knowledge. I feel like they're going to be able to answer some questions for us of how we feel or what we're thinking. But let me bring him on the stage. I'm going to add Rob. Welcome in, Rob. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Cases and Conversations, aka Heels on the Ground.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and thank you so much for your service and everything that you have done and all of the input that you've given from the time that I started this live and being a part of YouTube. You've really have helped me and guided with so much information. Like, I loved coming to your emails every day. You and your wife are super sweet, and I can't wait to get started tonight. But to start off, I was introducing you, thanking you for your service, letting them know that you were in the Army. You were an Army investigator, civilian police officer, and you've worked on a ton of cases throughout your career. Before we get started, I was hoping you could tell everyone a little bit more in depth about your background, maybe some previous cases. You don't have to get into depths of it, but I want them to understand who you are, what you've done in the past, and I'm just excited for everyone to get to know you.
Okay, my career started in the military right out of high school. I joined when I was 18, and I'm 65 now, so that was quite a while ago. And I was an Army MP and civilian for also as an investigator. Those are jobs where you quickly learn to deal with high stress, fast moving environments and very strict rules on things that most people don't have to deal with. I later transitioned into civilian law enforcement as police investigator and private security investigation. Over my career, I've been involved in hundreds of different cases across the entire criminal spectrum. This ranges from standard property crimes, major thefts, up to the most serious offenses, including all types of assaults, and you just name it, and I've had some part of it. When I look at a case like Nancy Guthrie's, I'm just looking at a missing person's profile through the lens of my lifetime of experience, through security, forensics, timelines, and all the different human behaviors that I've encountered in my career. So hopefully I can give that perspective tonight to everyone.
And out of everything that you've done, you've listed a lot of different duties that you've had, a lot of jobs. What do you think was your favorite? Do you have a favorite case that you've worked on? Again, we're going to dive deep into the Nancy Guthrie case for everyone who's following, but I'm just curious, was there a case that you've potentially have worked on that resembled the Nancy Guthrie case? Because a lot of people that I've chatted with, they're saying, I've never seen a case like this before, just by the way it's handled, how the way it's being relayed to the public. Do you feel as if you've seen any of this in your past, of anything that you've previously worked on, or do you feel like this is also something that is super, it's different the way that it's being handled and being told to all of us?
Well, you basically answered that by saying it's not like any other kidnapping case, probably on the record books anywhere.
And why
It's
do you
just so
think that?
different.
And what may, and again, like I have so many questions here, but like now that we're on that topic, I'm just curious, like what makes you think that this topic and this specific case is handled so differently? Is it because Savannah is in the public eye, even though she is not an A-list celebrity? Is it because she is someone who has a specific persona that she's trying to carry, and because of who her brother is? Again, he was in the military as well. Do you feel as if that has something to do with that, or do you feel as if it's who's handling the case, being it's the Pima County Sheriff Department, or do you feel as if it's kind of all of these topics that I'm covering right now?
It's probably more of several of those things put together. I mean, everybody talks about how the case was mishandled, but that happens quite often. I mean, you'd be surprised how often that it does happen. But there's nothing you can compare it to. And if you go through and look at all the similar or kidnapping cases, you're not going to find anything to compare it to. And as far as a favorite thing that I've worked on, it has nothing to do with real serious crimes. I mean, I had a shooting once after a Super Bowl party, and then when I got hurt on the job, and it was my favorite up until I got hurt.
Okay.
But
yes,
kidnappings, things like that, they're I won't say any of them. Stuff like that's not anybody's favorite, but if you solve it, that's just satisfaction.
Satisfaction. It makes you feel good. You give closure to the family, to those who are involved. I could totally see that. And I think that's why everyone's so invested in this Nancy Guthrie case, because you have so many people who are invested in this, and to try to give closure to not only those who are following the case, but to everyone, all civilians in general, because you see this case happening and you wonder, if you were a regular civilian, someone who's not even in the public eye like Nancy, you would just drop off and the conversation wouldn't even be covered still. I mean, we're 6 months into this case and we have very little leads. So it kind of just makes you want to get to that point, like, let's get this covered. Let's have some sort of ending. And with that being said, I do want to hop into the first question if you're ready.
Ready.
Okay, amazing. Again, thank you so much, Rob. Thank you again for your service. And, thank you for all the assistance and guidance that you've been giving. My first question was, recently, within the past week, the ransom notes have finally been revealed entirely. So to me, previously, we were just getting portions of the notes where we knew basically kind of what they were trying to say in them. And then again, a few weeks ago, we learned about Nancy most likely not being alive anymore. But then this past week, we know that they finally were released. The Pima County Sheriff Department finally released them. To you, being on an investigator standpoint, why do you think it took 6 months for the ransom letters to be released? Do you think that they're only releasing them because of, you had someone like Crime Junkie, who was the big podcast, and they released it. They read it out loud. They released it to the public. And now all of a sudden the Pima County Sheriff released it. Why wouldn't they have done that previously? Because I don't feel as if it would have hurt the case. And why are they just coming out 6 months later now?
Well, there's so much that goes into all of that. Some of the things that jumps out, I mean, you've got the structure of the ransom notes and different things like that. They just have so many reasons they could be doing it. They want to protect the integrity of their own case. They might have had so many reasons they can't tell us that we would never know. I mean, I could list 10 different things, that's one of those things you could just sit and I could tell you what 10 different things are, and then everybody would just debate them.
Um, Hi, Recovery Out Loud. Hi, Linda. Hi, Kimmy. Hi, everyone in the chat. Hi, Brenda. I just want to say hi to everyone. Everyone's saying thank you for your service and they love your dog.
Thank you.
And also, to me, I know that they were trying to understand, um, basically, they basically were saying they were trying to pick out distinctive patterns inside of the ransom notes, which to me, again, hi Angela, to me, someone who is just reading them from an outsider looking in, it looks as if it's more AI than it is coming from a actual person who wrote these out using their own words. So to me, wouldn't make sense that they would be hiding these or keeping them close to the belt, because it doesn't look as if it came from an actual somebody. And that's just my personal point of view. So I just don't know if Nanos is holding on to these because he feels as if he wanted to look all big and mighty, or if it actually was protecting the case. Like, what are your thoughts there?
Well, as far as the words go, the words aren't what jumps out at me. It's the structure.
Okay.
In traditional cases, ransom notes are filled with human error, nervous energy, chaotic spacing. These seem, at least for sure with the second one, to be more personal. And that's also my opinion on that also. And that's also how they definitely appear. The notes in this file show an added footprint to me. The formatting, phrasing, and the spatial layout are almost too perfectly uniform. From a behavioral standpoint, this doesn't look like the organic writing of say, a panicked individual under extreme stress at that time. To be exact, I mean, to me, it looks like AI, but I'm thinking that what they've done is they wrote maybe in a notebook or on paper, and then I think they put it into an AI engine and asked it to fix it up, spelling, grammar. You can ask it to do all kind of different things, but in the end, it's still their words, just a bit more professionalism in the final notes. The syntax,
so they probably put this note together in their own words, plugged it into something like a chat GBT, had them edit it, and then that was basically the final outcome. But the whole looking at it as an outsider, basically it did come from someone's point of view, perspective, but chat GBT may have been the one to kind of put the whole note together as one.
Right. And it lacks the raw impulsive quirks that a real human person leaves behind when they're under cognitive overload. It seems like a text generator was given a specific prompt to mimic things and from the original writings, and this is what you ended up with.
And because of what you're seeing and how the ransom notes were made for you, do you feel as if that would be someone who would be, because again, they were showing a little bit of remorse in that second ransom letter. Would you feel as if this is someone who would be closer to the family? Because why are you showing remorse? Or do you feel as if it would be someone random? And again, I know it's hard to tell just based off of these notes, but seeing based on your previous experience of being having an investigation background, like, how do you feel about that?
Well, for myself, using AI tools, which I do believe they used them in the context that I mentioned, that tells me two major things. One is what I'd call a digital distance. They're using the technology to completely scrub or get rid of their personal handwriting style and natural behavior from the physical evidence to avoid us from thinking they might know who they are. But it still comes through in the end, obviously based on all the opinions you're getting. And two, I'd call this a cold detachment. A suspect who feeds parameters into a generator to write their demands is operating with a clinical calculation, keeping themselves far removed from an emotional reality of the crime. This could possibly mean, and it's from what I see and what I feel, that they knew Nancy, and at least one or more of them is feeling bad for the family and Savannah and themselves, and they're just trying to justify it, definitely based on the second one. So we aren't dealing with a traditional impulsive criminal. I think we're dealing with someone a little bit tech savvy, using the software as their digital mask, which completely changes how law enforcement has to track their footprints. Someone that uses computers, email, and things like that on a daily basis is part of who they're looking for, in my opinion.
And also, now that we're on that, saying that it's someone who understands all these techniques, do you feel as if, and I'm kind of going, not, I'm going off topic, off of our questions, but do you feel as if now that we're chatting with someone who potentially put their words into ChatGPT, do you feel as if that also has a reason to why they're asking for crypto and why they're not asking for any other source of money for this to come in?
No, I just believe that some of the reasons they have done what they've done is based on, I just believe the whole crime, as we'll just call it, fell apart on them. I just believe she got hurt somehow and then passed away much sooner than expected. And I think that threw them in an uproar.
Do you think that they ever, and I know it's hard, I just want your opinion. Do you think they ever had plans to return Nancy, this person? Because to me, we've never had proof of Nancy actually being taken out of that home. And again, I know Nanos recently have said they're filtering through a bunch of different video evidence that they still have to go through. But to me, where is the proof that Nancy even left the home that night? Do you think that this person even had plans to return Nancy? Like, what was the overall goal here? Because I'm having a hard time filter through what we know for facts of evidence and then also filtering through the ransom notes that have been provided and whether there's even whether they're real or not.
Well, earlier we mentioned a little bit about that. I don't think they planned on basically kidnapping her, keeping her, and all this happening. It's really hard to tell exactly what they were after. I just don't believe they were going to kidnap her because, you know, when we discuss that, like, there's no other kidnapping. If you were to go through everyone in history, you're not going to find one that compares. If you want an answer to that, it's why not? There's your answer. They didn't plan on that. And why, we don't know.
And that's it. It's like, why? It's there's so many questions here that I just feel are so unanswered and left open. And coming from an investigation standpoint, like, what would be your whole scheme of why? Like, why do you think that this was done? Do you think it was for money, or do you feel like there was more to the story behind this of what we don't even know? Because looking at a lot of other unsolved cases or cases that do end up being solved on the road, there's a lot more to the story when it all comes out in the end, and it's so hard to put those little pieces together.
Well, you know, I'm always hearing people say, how or why did they do this? How could it have been somebody that knew her or close to her? Well, from a personal perspective, we don't have a lot of money, but, and I might have mentioned this in our emails, we've had family and friends in our lives that have come forward and asked to borrow money. And it got to the point where it was just never paid back. And we had to say no. And we've had family members basically just drop us, very close members, because we wouldn't loan them any more money. And, you know, I've seen people risk their jobs. I've seen somebody steal a camera, you know, or a $20 bill. and risk their career and their everything they own. So, you don't have to be going for $1 million.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I feel like money can make people do really crazy things, especially when there's money in the family already. And I'm not pointing to anyone in the family, but we obviously know. Hi Sheila, hi Truth Warrior. Who's your daddy? TC. Oh, everyone's asking who TC is. I mean, who Rob is. Rob is a retired investigator from the Army. So we're having him on. Oh, thank you, Summary Wednesday. We're having him on. We're asking him all the questions. We're going through the Nancy case. And he's been amazing. So to that point, yeah, like I said, I think it can make people do really crazy things, especially like we said, there's money in the family already, and maybe some of the family members didn't have as much money as others. But we don't know necessarily, I guess, what the end goal or why. But like you said, yeah, money can make people do really crazy things.
Well, I had an uncle that had quite a bit of money growing up, and his belief was he worked his tail off for everything he had and he owned. And there were family members, from basically poor to having a good life. And he had family members that would ask him for money, like, hey, you got all this, I have nothing. His view was, I'm sorry, I can't give you anything. He said, I'll help you with some advice, but work hard. So just because Savannah had the money doesn't mean she was passing it out.
100%. She worked for that money. She has her own kids, her own husband. She has her own family. So yeah, on that note, I also have noticed that Savannah has recently put out a new Instagram post. I don't know if this was also posted elsewhere, but she did list her siblings, their spouses or partners. And what stood out to me from that post was we spend every working moment thinking of her, longing for her, and looking for her. To me, many people, including myself, have questioned what does looking for her actually mean, because the public hasn't seen any visible search efforts on the side of the family. So it doesn't make sense to me as to why she's noting this. Like, she has to understand that we as the public are following this case. She has to know that it's across the media. YouTubers are following it. Obviously, mainstream media, we're only getting like a piece of it, but she knows how invested people are. So to me, how do you interpret a post like that saying, first of all, she listed her family's names, I think, to try to say like, hey, we're all good here. And then also saying that we're looking for her every day. How do you take that? Do you think that there's stuff going on behind the scenes, especially like I said, with your past of being an investigation? Have you seen family members handle things like this?
Yes, 100%. And there's so much going on behind the scenes, not only with the sheriffs, the FBI, her security people, whoever she's hired. But in civilian investigations, the public often equates searching, the word, with physical search parties walking through fields and flashlights at night. But in modern kidnapping or financial extortion cases, looking for her can mean sitting in a room reviewing private financial logs, digging through old family documents, combining through digital data, or actively coordinating back and forth with communications with law enforcement. We can't mistake a lack of public visibility, per se, for a lack of action. So believe me, Savannah and her family and authorities are active 100% behind the scenes.
Okay, so you think they're doing a lot more behind the scenes than what we're saying. I mean, looking back, again, this is kind of a question for another segment, but because you're saying they're doing a lot behind the scenes, and it doesn't have to mean that they're actively looking for her daily, that they're doing other search efforts besides active searches. But why do you think they're also not putting together search teams? Do you feel as if again, with your previous experience, why do you feel as if they're not putting together like a search effort or allowing people to search? I know some people aren't even allowed to search over there anymore. It's why wouldn't they want that? Or why wouldn't they be putting together things based on your previous knowledge?
In this case, that one has me a little baffled. Now, I can see, and I've seen it myself, when it was not done in other cases. There's always a good reason for it. In this one, that's one of those things you could come up with 10 things and then debate it. Personally, I think they've got certain evidence that told them we don't need that. They have more of an idea of where the body could be if she's not alive. And I think they know who, they know who they're looking at.
You think they potentially have like a list, even though that they're saying there's no new suspects, there's no one that they're looking at, you think that they do have more of a lead than we understand?
Oh, yes, definitely. I'd say anything I've been involved in, 90% of them, I knew who did it based upon the evidence. But there's nothing you can do about it if all of that evidence can't convict them in a court of law.
And
I would wait behind the scenes for months, and even in the smallest cases, a little bitty theft case, and I was working hard behind the scenes, and the person that did it thought they had gotten away with it, and I'd pop up and get a little bit of evidence I had needed, and I'd catch them.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting. It's maybe they do have a lead and maybe they can't let too much information out. Hey, Misty. Hey, everyone in the chat. Yeah, and don't worry, I do have that on my questions summary Wednesday. We're going to get there. Don't worry. And to look back, it's also like, do you, again, like the search efforts on foot are not really actively happening. Why do you feel as if they're not doing any formal press conferences as a family? Like, why do you feel as if she's not coming forward? Again, because you've worked on so many cases in the past, have you seen this before where the family is just quiet? I understand, like, maybe they're holding this really close to their hearts or they're grieving differently. But to me, you should be going out into the public eye and having a press conference. I've never seen a case that I've followed where they don't have an active press conference for the family.
Well, from my point of view, as being a part of things and working behind the scenes is different than, say, like my wife. I would call her just an average person, looking at like you are, and she expects certain things. And if I'm running the case, I'm saying to myself and to her, I don't have to give you anything. I'm sorry you're my wife or whatever, you're the public. I don't have to give you anything. And every time a sheriff or a family member stands in front of a microphone, a suspect is listening. I don't care who it is or what the case is.
He's probably, or he or she is listening to these lives or following the case. Right. You have to know that they are on top of this.
Right. And if an investigator accidentally reveals a piece of tactical data, the suspect changes their behavior. They could destroy a phone or information on a phone. They could even flee the entire area. Silence can be used as a strategic tool, used to keep the perpetrators feeling secure and stationary while the trap is being set. These days, with all the on-scene YouTube people, I could just imagine how hard it is to do that now with all of them right there filming it all.
And that's what's interesting to me, because there's a lot that I feel like the YouTube community picked up on and have it exposed to the public, whereas we would never have known any of this previously. Like there, I don't know if you saw it, but there was that video of Tommaso coming out of the home, and you could tell, like after law enforcement left, his pockets were huge. Like they looked like gold bricks almost, like in his pockets.
Right.
And that was something that I believe JLR picked out from just recording live outside. So there's a lot that I think that's also another reason why they don't want the YouTubers out there, because they might feel as if it's exposing the truth or giving them a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Of what shouldn't be out.
Well, what else would, I'm not going to say right now he's involved. Let's say he was.
Yeah.
What else could he have been doing that authorities might have been able to see or find out later if they weren't there? He had to know that camera was on him, yet he still just comfortably ran around that house. But also another thing, I can't prove it, but they said when they filmed that he just came flying down the street, driving dangerously.
He
pulled
did.
into the driveway. Yeah. And shortly after, the FBI showed up. So,
well, not only that, too, I think he had to let the FBI in, if I remember correctly from what I heard, because for some reason I think he's like entitled, or his name is on the paperwork to overlook the house. Maybe he's power of attorney, who knows? But I think that was the reason why he was in the home letting law enforcement in. But I mean,
what was he doing?
That's what, after they left, I mean, he circled it, he went out, he came out pockets full. So again, we don't know what the issue was, but obviously something went down in that house for him to, and like I said, with Savannah's note, how she brought in her siblings, their partners, basically to me, that was also saying like, we're okay here. This isn't family. And I don't know if you took that way, or what are your thoughts from her Instagram post?
Well, even if she believed it was family, or even if they told her family or close friends are our prime suspects, I mean, no matter what she wants to do, she can't do it publicly and say anything. She can't even call, say, Joe or Tom or whoever and say, look, what's going on here? I think you might be involved. She can't do any of that. That could harm things. So I think when she gives her little speeches, it's closely monitored by the FBI, and she might even have somebody that's helping her write it also with the FBI.
Her publicist, her PR team. Yeah. And don't you think though that her PR team or personal team would have oh, hold on one second. Sheila, my niece died this morning at 4 a.m. Please keep my nephew in there. So, oh my God, prayers to you and your family. I'm so sorry, Sheila.
Yeah,
keeping
definitely.
You and your family all close to the heart tonight. Prayers for them. That's so sad. But I did want to say, wouldn't you think that her team would tell her to maybe do more of these posts? Because to me personally, I'm seeing a lot of these posts from Savannah, or these videos that she's putting up, come after something that has happened. For instance, like the Crime Junkie interview that released basically the ransom notes, and then also the 6 months anniversary coming up. It was never consistent in my eyes. Do you see that on an investigator standpoint, or do you feel like that is proper? Some people just, that's how they go about these situations.
No, I think some people would say more is better. I'm definitely not one that, in this type of case, that would think that. Again, the more you put out there, the more you could either irritate whoever's involved, whether they know you or not. They just might get tired of dealing with you, and they could just disappear and end everything. So I think it's all calculated and planning. The FBI has so many people that is so experienced with this that's definitely working with her people. And the timing is all for a good reason.
And that's the thing. It's like there's reasoning behind it. And it's like, will we ever know? Because if she is trying to control her persona of who she is, doesn't it make you think like this is kind of affecting it for the negative, not the positive? Because people are kind of seeing her as someone who basically seeing from the outside as someone who doesn't care, and not necessarily that's what's actually going on. But I feel like that's how the public is taking it.
Well, based on my personal experience, just losing relatives in different ways and things happening, you're going to always have family, friends, people in your town, your neighborhood. I don't care what you do. They're going to say you did too much, you talked too much,
Yeah.
you didn't do enough. You should have stood up at the funeral and you know in the home and instead of sitting. My first wife passed away like 16 years ago,
I'm
and
sorry.
thank you. And at the funeral home, I sat, and
Mm-hmm.
we chose to have a closed coffin. I can't tell you how much heat and crap that I took from just people I didn't even know from that. So you don't know.
And again, going back to everyone grieves differently. Like I personally understand that. I lost my mom almost 10 years ago, and coming from like I don't have either of my parents, so it's I see a lot of people when they lose family members will say, they're constantly posting about them or putting photos up or saying how much they miss them. And to me, I grieve differently. I can't even post a photo. I can't look at a photo. I can't look at old text messages. So seeing that, and someone may look at that and be like, wow, she doesn't miss her mom or she grieves differently. I guess I can see it in that sense. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone looks at things differently and grieves differently and handles everything in a different way. So I guess I could see that.
Yes, I agree. And when it happened to me, I was grieving and things, and I just thought to myself, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if it's family, friends, or if I don't know them. They're not me. They're not dealing with the loss of, like in that case, a wife of 28 years. They don't know what you're going through. So don't tell me what I can or should or shouldn't do. And I just didn't care what they thought. And I know Savannah, look at her face. Does she look like when she's doing those videos, she cares what
She
you and
looks
I
like
think?
she aged like so
Oh, yeah.
much. Just I mean, Max and I were speaking about that. We're like, if you look at her clear, she looked like she aged a bunch since all of this went down. And it's super sad. And again, we're all judging her from the outside because we say we would handle things differently. What are you actually doing? X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, we don't know what she knows, and she may know more.
Right. And if it was a family member or someone close, that could also explain how rapidly she's deteriorated.
100%. She's going to keep that close to home. I don't think she's ever going to want that exposed either. So
Right.
we'll see. But I do want to go back. And I think everyone in the chat is super excited to get to this point of the investigation with you. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. We're going to step back to the first 24 to 48 hours. Looking back to the beginning of the case, is there anything that stands out to you that you believe should have been handled differently? Again, we all, and I think 90% of this chat or everyone who's in there do not believe that this was handled properly. I think a lot of people despise Nanos and how he went about this case. But what do you think, starting from the beginning of those first 24 to 48 hours, what do you think should have been handled differently? Or what do you feel stood out to you the most?
Oh, there's just so much. I would say, I mean, like the first 24 to 48 hours, those are what you call the golden hours. That show that they call 48 Hours with the murder
I watch
cases,
all of them. Yep.
Yeah. Obviously, that tells right there, that's 100% right. Evidence is fresh, things are trackable. There's digital footprints that haven't been overwritten. Suspects haven't had time to perfectly align an alibi or dispose of evidence. Every hour that ticks away without securing the core scene makes the investigation, the hill you climb, twice as steep.
And seeing that though, like we obviously know within those first 24 to 48 hours were key, and the fact that the crime scene was opened up, and then you also had the FBI not called onto scene until 4 days later, and we saw within those 4 days that again the crime scene was opened up. They missed out on some additional video footage. Why do you think the reasoning is that they didn't have the FBI come on? Like in previous cases that you've worked on, wouldn't you have felt like the base of this case, they should be contacted right away?
Well, based on my experience as a former investigator, I know jurisdictional handoffs can be a major pain with another agency. Local agencies like Pima County's Sheriff Department, they try to establish a baseline verification of everything that's gone on before they would call the FBI. They want to ensure it's definitely a verified kidnapping and not a medical wandering off event or some kind of domestic miscommunication. However, technical assets should have been requested instantly from the feds. Waiting 4 days hurt their digital tracking windows significantly. Was it incompetence, stupidity, lack of experience for sure, or previous issues with the FBI? We may never know. It could be a little of all of those.
And it's also really concerning because wouldn't you think Sheriff Nanos would have had the knowledge, like even though that Ring camera wasn't recording or it didn't pay the subscription, that he should have known to go to the Google or whatever the FBI did to retract that camera footage? That's what made me question. Do you feel as if the Pima County Sheriff is hiding something, or do you think it's just lack of protocol and knowledge there?
You know, I've seen a lot of people all over the internet talk about some kind of conspiracy. Is he involved? I mean, there's quite a few people that believe he is at least the first guy that the FBI showed in that first photo.
A lot of people say that.
Right. But you know what? I can't buy into the conspiracies. Those would have to be proven to me in the end before I would go for those. There's just no way. He's got obviously a well-paying job, and whether they get rid of him or he's just able to continue and retire, that man's going to retire, you know, with a healthy retirement. I don't think he's risking that for anyone or anybody. It would take more than we could even guess to be able to control him to do that.
And it makes me just feel as if, oh, hey, Patriot Pridey's in the chat. It just makes me feel as if though he doesn't really necessarily care, because like you said in the beginning with the FBI kind of not being contacted, I watched his old interviews not too long ago. And in that first interview, he noted that it was a concerned scene inside the house which made them contact the homicide unit. To me, right. What made them think that? Like, was there blood inside of the home? And at that point, why wouldn't you contact the FBI if you were so concerned to the fact that you called the homicide team in, but you didn't call FBI? I guess to me, that just makes me think it's lack of knowing what to do properly.
Well, first of all, I think we all know by now that he demoted or forced to quit or retire all of his experienced people to put his people that didn't have that experience in those jobs. So everybody he put on this case had hardly any experience in it. Right there is going to cause, or alone could cause, all those mistakes. But he also had a lot of past history with the FBI. They even investigated him. Now, how upset do you think he probably was about that? He probably didn't care anything about them, and he probably didn't want to leave them much, really. In my opinion, he's so high on himself, I don't think he cares about anybody else.
Yeah, I think, but to know that this is such a high profile case, wouldn't you think that he would put the extra effort in or more understanding and following the proper protocol? And I've read something recently where they were almost not even I think that doormat is still there with the blood on it. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. You may know more. It's
It
kind of
is.
like, how was that not taken away first?
Well, the thing is, I do believe early on, and you look at his first press conference when he said some of the things you mentioned about what he saw and why they think she didn't just wander off. They thought it was some kind of serious crime in there. Then later I've heard, well, there was nothing to show in there. Well, I think he
Yeah.
did put his best foot forward early on. His best foot forward may not be much. And then after things started to fall apart on him and he started taking all this bad publicity, I think everybody was on him, call the FBI. He finally did. And at that point, he had to be embarrassed. And
Had
I
to
think that
be.
explains it. Yeah, that explains a lot.
Do you think that's why he's not doing, oh, hey, brick by brick? Let me just give some shout outs. I'm so sorry. The chat's going
Sure.
really. Crystal's Crime Board, thank you guys for being here. Sam Lamb, Max is in the chat. We have Blue Cats in the chat. Who's your daddy? That's a funny name. Angel Eyes. Who's your has law enforcement Ellie experience as well. Amazing. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in and listening to myself and Rob. We're getting some
Yeah, thank
great
you.
information from Rob tonight. Hey, Tina. And I think this is going to be important for all of us to really hear this side of what's going on behind the scenes. And if anyone has any questions, send them in through the chat and I'll ask him as they come in. We still have a lot more to go through as well.
And you know, like you had said, he's definitely hiding. I mean, he doesn't want to be in the public eye. I think he just wants this to be done, and he's not really a part of it right now.
Do you think that's why he's simply just he's doing no interviews, and when he is doing interviews, he's doing them with journalists who to me seem like they're just starting out, who he doesn't feel like are going to challenge him, and I mean, they're all great, they're wonderful, but why not step up and grow a pair and go against someone who you feel as if is going to challenge you and ask those questions? Because I feel like he'll step back and he kind of almost treads backwards, where he's like, oh, I didn't say that, or I've never said that she got taken out of her bed, and then come to find out they did note that she got taken out of her bed in the middle of the night. But to me, that just makes me think is he doesn't have his facts in line and he's kind of almost nervous to slip up.
At this point, that's exactly right. I mean, he's afraid to say anything. In the beginning, he was confident, he was in control. He said and he did as he pleased. Mm-hmm. And once that collapsed on him, and it really, the whole world was against him at that point. He had very few supporters. And then they started focusing on his job and getting rid of him. So he's the secondary man now, not the main person. And I think he's sitting home at night taking that to heart.
And do you think that there can ever get to be a specific part of this case where it just goes directly all into the FBI's hands, where no longer Nanos has any sort of control? Do you think it'll ever get to that point, or legally can that actually happen?
Well, anything can happen and anything's possible, but they're always going to have to keep him, at the very least, as I said, as the secondary, or I like to call him at this point the little man. And they will always do that. But also, too, whether the agents involved were involved in his original investigation, agents talk, they know what goes on. They're not going to let him have any part of this case. They know he's screwed up. Mm-hmm. They know his past history, and they know their history with him. They're not going to let him have anything.
And that's where I think it go like, so if you were to go back to that initial crime scene, what would have been a step-by-step process of what should have taken place? And I mean, we'll never know what actually did take place that night, but on a scene like you walked in and just from what you know, what would have been the step-by-step procedure usually um, on this case, and what do you think was actually missed?
Well, first, I definitely re-interview the closest circle of people around Nancy. Um,
Hmm.
all the family, all the friends, neighbors, workers, just re-interview the closest circle. Um, and then I would cross-reference their timelines against the raw cell tower data that I know they have. And geofence analytics would be the second thing. I would deep dive into the local lists of workers that were in that neighborhood, not just for her. And
Hmm.
I would get into everybody's financial records to see if anybody was having a crisis, a criminal history that was involving theft or coercion or anything um, would be important to know for everybody. Also, the family's finances, each one of them would be very important. I would dig into all of it, and no one would be cleared. And to clear that up, they can't be. The sheriff knew this when he first said it. He does not have the authority to do so, but he can say it, and I've said it to help your case, to make whoever's involved feel at ease. But you can't do it 100% until the case is solved and finished, and everybody is actually cleared.
Hmm.
He had his own reasons for saying that, and no one's cleared. And now he says that no one actually is. But those are the things I would do.
And why and stepping back, I know we kind of covered this briefly, but why do you think they don't want people searching? And that's just a question that came up to me. Why do you think that they don't want people really chatting about Nancy or looking for her? Why do you feel like that's they're giving basically I think there was like they were giving people tickets or you had to be like you had to be able to search or be okay to search? Like, why wouldn't they want more people searching?
Well, you take the biggest case down to the smallest little case, a little theft. There's always people that want to help. And of course, the bigger the case, the more people are going to want to help.
Hmm.
Um, but in my situation, if I knew who I was after, if I had the evidence, um, I'm just going to tell these people, well, I'm good right now. I don't need you. And I've done that. I said, I don't need you to search for this or search for that. I
Hmm.
still do believe they had, I believe from the first few days, they knew who was involved. And I would say, and almost everything I've been involved in, right at the beginning, whether it was solved or not, I knew who did it. And the people around me, we knew who we were after. In the end, you may not always be able to arrest and convict them. And so you don't need help. And I honestly believe that's why they haven't. They've known from the very beginning who they're after, and they're just trying to put it all together.
And do you
And
feel like no body, no crime? Like, is that like so? If
no,
they never find Nancy, so you think they could still put someone away even though they never find Nancy?
it's just harder. That's the only thing. You just need more of all the other types of evidence to convict somebody. And I do honestly believe that's another reason this is going on so long. As an investigator, you're going to sit there and say to everybody in your little meeting room that you would have daily, you're going to say to each other, boy, it'd be nice to have a body. Boy, it'd be nice to have a murder weapon, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want that final piece of evidence, and you're going to take as long as you need or want to do it. And if it is family or someone close, and especially with her high profile and the money she has, you better be 150% right before you come out with it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, do you feel as if, like you said from the beginning, you think that they had a lead? Do you feel as if currently they're still working towards that lead, or do you think it's kind of reverting into different people, different options, and they're just trying to nail it home? Like, I'm curious.
I would say my personal opinion, and based on what I've seen and experienced with my own investigations, they're just waiting for the pieces to fall into place. They're waiting for different things, maybe for someone to crack.
Hmm.
I think there's definitely three people minimum. Now, if there's four or whatever, they may be working on those other people. There's just reasons for that, and I just think they're just waiting. They're waiting for a body. There's so many different things. They're waiting for somebody to crack, and obviously they don't. They, for some reason, they can't come forward and collect $1 million.
Yeah, and
So
that's what's
yes,
crazy. It's just like there's all that money there. You would think someone would come forth and say something. Do you An army vet actually wrote, he said, in an active kidnapping scenario, broadcasting the suspect's face, vehicle, or precise movement on national news can induce panic. They don't want to scare him. The government choose him over the public.
right.
So
Yeah,
do you feel as if they're able, do you think they have more of who's under that mask than we know? Do you think they have a car? Because we don't know how Nancy got from point A to point B, or we were never exposed to any of that information. For all we know is Nancy was never taken out of that home. From the information that was told to us, we don't know.
we don't know if she went over someone's house. We don't know if she made it back home. I mean, there's so many things like that that are involved in it that we may not know. Um,
Yeah,
just
because
so
you know how like much scrutiny and everyone questioning A&T and Ian Tommaso, you would think if they had video footage of Tommaso bringing Nancy back home that night, don't you feel as if that would have been some sort of footage that they were released to the public just to kind of clear their name? Or do you feel as if that's something, again, they would keep close to the investigation? And they also kept their car for quite some time.
right. Okay, now I'll answer those two things, and I'll get back to one other thing for your audience to understand. The
Yeah.
public is only privy, from my experience and from what I've done, to 5 to 10% of the actual case file and evidence. The pieces that are legally allowed or strategically chosen to be released. Behind the scenes, investigators, they're working with subpoenas, cell phone tower dumps, digital forensics, private interviews. What looks like a stagnant case to the public is often a hyperactive, fast moving puzzle behind closed doors. Facts, things are very active behind the scenes, and I have no doubt about that one.
And
Um,
even though if they're saying that they have no one new in mind, do you think that's just them kind of like making the public think otherwise? So just because I know they've released like there's no new perps, there's no one they have in mind, do you think they're just saying that to kind of get us kind of off the case?
well, there's nobody new in mind because they know who they have in mind. And as far as you mentioned, the video and the photos they've released, if it was myself running the case, you would see that 5 or 10% I mentioned. So if that were true, I would have 10 more videos in my possession. I would have 10 or more photos. I would have so much more than you've seen. I'm hoping that's the case here.
And that's, yes, Brick by Brick said, Nano said in his last interview that he had thousands of video. With that much video available, they have to know more, but just not saying anything to the public.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like with all of that video footage, if that is correct, because like I said, you had three different people saying three different things, Savannah, TMZ, Nanos. Do you think that they have some sort of vehicle as well, not only knowing potentially what that looks like under there, but do you think they have a vehicle in mind too?
I would say, based on all the cams that are in that entire neighborhood, then once a vehicle would have left that neighborhood, I mean, you just piece together little things here and there that's been put out there, like the little kid that got woke up and saw people going around some cars in his neighborhood. Well, that was just a couple of blocks or so from where A&T used to live. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. And what about the screaming woman in the middle of the night yelling out of
Yes.
a car for, come on now, two coincidences.
Whatever happened with that? Like, where did that lead go? Or do you think again they're keeping that under their hood?
Yes, yes. If that was myself and it was her, or we believed it to be, you'd never hear about it again until someone was arrested. Because then, especially now with all the YouTubers, they would get so many questions and get bombarded with it. I think they did find something in all that, and they're not releasing it because it would hurt the case.
And that's what's really tricky here, is because we're sitting out on the outside, and then we have someone who, like you, who has all this knowledge, and you kind of see things from the inside. And you, from what I'm hearing from you is you think that they may have more. Well, they definitely have more information that they're just not releasing to us.
They've released, like I said, at the most 10%, in my opinion. Imagine what they have if there's 90% more of everything. They just want those big pieces.
Yeah, and that's what it's like. Also, on this recent ransom letter, or like a notice that I saw go up, it wasn't even to the Pima County sheriffs. I noticed they were saying, like, send your tips into the FBI. So it makes me seem like they're almost trying to kind of get rid of Nanos, not get rid of him, but kind of exclude him into the case. Do you feel like it would be more of the FBI having this information, or more of the Pima County Sheriff's Department?
I would say at this point, the FBI has everything, and they've told him if anything is found or comes in, pass it on, and they will keep him informed of what they get. But they might be telling him that they're not doing it because they don't trust him. They're not going to tell him everything.
And how do you balance this, though, between keeping the public informed and wanting to know more, especially knowing the amount of scrutiny that has been around this case with people questioning it? How do you balance that with giving them a little bit more without revealing much information in the case that could hurt it? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you feel as if they are really covering this properly, or do you feel like we're owed to know a little bit more?
That's a tough one. You're walking a tightrope. The investigators are. Everything behind the scenes, they're walking a tightrope with that. You're sitting there saying, every time I turn on the news, they're saying we're worthless, we're not doing anything, when you know you are. When you're just wishing, oh, I could let them, have all this evidence. I wish I could show them it, but you can't. So you only give what you can. Sometimes you might give a little more to try to make people happy. But again, in my case, and not to be mean about it to anybody, I would tell everyone asking, like a YouTuber, Brian Hinton, a news station, I wouldn't care if they asked me in private. I'd say, I'm not worried if I give you anything, because I'm worried about catching who's responsible, and then I'm worried about handing that case over to the attorneys to prosecute them. That's my job.
And I have a lot of more questions for you, but after chatting with you and getting to understand your firsthand experience, do you foresee this case ever being solved, or do you think that it is going into a cold case?
Any case could go into a cold case. The thing with that is, I believe that one person could not have done this without help. So,
Yes.
going with that, alliances are going to change, and people who commit crimes together or assist each other, eventually they're going to turn on each other. I can't see this case ever going unsolved with all that going on. Minimum, there's two people. I say three is my minimum.
Do you think there
Probably
was three
four.
on the scene that night, or do you feel as if there was potentially one person there and then there's more people behind, kind of acting, assisting with the ransom notes and things like that?
I think there's a possibility somebody was waiting inside when she got there.
Okay.
And then I would think that one, maybe two showed up. Um, let's put it this way: if I was doing that kidnapping, I'm not going to do something like that by myself, and I don't think anybody else is stupid enough. So I'm going to have two people, bare minimum, that's very close to me. One is going to be the driver, and the other one is going to be a big, strong, younger person that can do some so-called heavy lifting if needed, and probably a criminal background, and somebody not afraid to hurt somebody if it came to it.
So you think the person at the front door, do you think that was someone who was just placed there? Or like, basically, I know there's been questions about that person at the front door being a potential like stand-in, like someone who wasn't actually involved taking Nancy out. Do you think that was the main perp that night?
Well, that person, I think, showed up at that door after the situation was all finished inside.
Okay.
Whatever anybody believes went on in that house, whether she even made it back home, whatever you believe, they were finished inside, because it looks more like that he's coming around from that garage side. And I think that it all had to do with the camera. Either showing up on video to say, look, I'm a big bad criminal, look at me with my goofy holster in the front where it doesn't belong.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you think, and I remember after the release, The Masked Man at the porch, they were chatting about his holster and how it was incorrectly done, and that, this was someone who didn't know what they were doing, but here we are 6 months later and they still don't have him. So that was like, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think that person was dressed up and placed there to kind of just take eyes off of whoever went inside of the home that night?
Yes. If somebody walked up to me with their holster like that, there's two things I would say to them. Are you totally inexperienced or stupid? Or are you just joking around? Which is it? I don't think that many people are that inexperienced. If you're going to commit that crime, you've done some research on things. You don't carry your gun there. They had a specific reason for that. And also,
that was my question. Yeah, it's like, what was the reasoning for that person to place their gun there? And then like the backpack having the reflectors on it. It just seems a lot of the way that person was dressed and the way they carried themselves, and like putting the leaves in front of the Ring camera and then taking the Ring camera off. I think that person, like I said, it just makes me think that person was placed there, in my personal opinion.
Well, for one thing, they're not going through that front door unless somebody on the inside unlocks it. So if you're going through the front door, you wouldn't even bother being on the front porch. That door is a heavy duty door with a metal frame. Nobody's going through that door. So if they were going through that, they were just waiting for somebody to unlock it from the inside.
Oh, you're echoing. I think, is your volume up on your TV? Maybe. I think I hear.
Something happened on her. She's trying to turn it off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's rushing to turn it off.
That's okay. Take your time.
Is your volume up on your TV? Maybe?
Oh, I can hear myself now.
Yeah, she's.
Okay.
Honey, just turn off the whole thing there. She was trying to listen on her earphones and play a game at the same time. Oh, just unplug it. There, I think she got it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, and also that also answers the question of basically, we know obviously Nancy didn't, oh, thank you, Misty. She said, right, he looks like Toy Story Woody. Yeah, the guy in the front, he literally looked like Woody.
Well,
But
I was going to add to that if that was me, if the way that person acts and everything they do, if I went out to do what they did, I would be let's say it wasn't a kidnapping. If I was just going to go do that, I'd tell my wife, I'd say, hey, I'm going to go dress up in a mask and just look goofy and just casually walk around the house and come up to the front door and let you see me on camera and see what you think. And I just feel all confident in myself and everything. And that's what that looks like to me. They were just playing around.
And that's what it is too. And well, to me, that answered the question as if we obviously know, like you said, that's a hard door. And we know that they obviously didn't break in through that door, but that answers the question of people were like, oh, maybe Nancy went and opened the front door. No, we know that didn't happen because they said Nancy got taken out of her bed.
Right.
So to me, it makes me think like, okay, the two back doors were propped open. That person was kind of just in place in the front door to make you think it was, that's the way they were going in. But did they take her out through the front? Like, do you think that blood was new?
I think there's two ways. I don't think they would have gone all the way through the house, through the garage, and out that way. All they had to do was pull a vehicle right there in front of that doorway, out the door, and you're in and gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would do it. If you're doing it any other way, you're making it harder on yourself. You want to make it easy, not hard.
Yeah, and that's the thing is,
I bet with criminals, they want it easy.
And to me, this person, again, from your experience, do you feel as if this person knew exactly where they were going, or the people knew because of how dark it is in that area? We saw the streamers outside and how dark it was. You had to know how to navigate through her neighborhood, or how to approach the door, or what way to get in through the back doors. Like, someone had to be out there a lot, and also had to know Nancy. And that was a question too. Not only did they have to know Nancy and her neighborhood, but how much do they know about Nancy's health? Because remember, in the second ransom note, they were like, oh, well, we didn't know her health would like deteriorate. Like, I'm not saying it word for word, but basically they were saying they didn't know that her health was going to deteriorate that fast and expect her to pass. So in that sense, like, we have someone who potentially knew the house, but did they know Nancy's health? Because it's kind of we're getting two different vibes here.
I'd say they knew everything. If they're at that front porch, if you believe that first photo was there, early January 11th, if you believe that, they had to have been scoping things out, and they knew everything. They knew every detail. It would amaze you what the smallest crimes that a criminal will commit, how much he knows about the smallest things. And also too, as far as the darkness in the streets, I investigated not just a cold case. This one was just dead. A woman that was murdered in the 50s, and it was actually in a town we used to live in. And back then, there's no street lights. The main roads were gone. It was just all country roads flowing through the hills. Well, the person that eventually did it was from the city. And one night, I just drove that entire trail based on the evidence at hand that person had to go through, to commit this crime. I lived in that area 2 years before I could comfortably do it in the daytime without asking or looking on my phone. There's no way that person just showed up in that crime and navigated. And it's not as bad as Nancy's neighborhood. My opinion, they lived in that neighborhood, or they used to. They used to, one or the other.
They knew it, like, also to me is why wouldn't they have taken Nancy's medication? Um, like, what do you think? Do you feel as if this is someone who maybe didn't know her health benefit, like what her issues were, or that they didn't really care because they never had the plan to return her?
I think I've got three little things on that. One, originally, I believe they could have possibly taken her to Mexico.
Mhm.
If they did, people from the USA go to Mexico all the time crossing the border to get any med they want dirt cheap. Second, maybe she got hurt so bad right there at the house, they knew they wouldn't need those meds. You
Yeah.
know, maybe they did take them. We just haven't been told.
And that's, yeah, that's another thing. Like, we don't know what they took from that home. Again, is that an investigation standpoint of they're not really telling us, like, was this also a burglary? Do you think that they took things from the home as well?
I don't think it was a stranger burglary, because if it was, I think they would have been more forthcoming, because then they would have been worried or concerned for the neighborhood or nearby neighborhoods. So if anything was taken, there was a purpose to it, not just because, oh, I'm a stranger, I'm here to take everything I can. They've never said that happened. So I think they knew her.
Okay. Yeah, Missy just said they thought it would be a 7-day ransom, would get the money, and Nancy would be returned, but she unexpectedly died, so the plan was ruined.
She could have unexpectedly died also because she was injured severely in the house and they didn't take her meds. Or
Yeah.
even if they did take them, she still could have been hurt. It doesn't take much, I'm sure, to cause an 84-year-old to pass.
And how did they get her out of the house and to the next point? I think, do you think, I'm just like a lot of these cases, I feel like they're always close to home. Out of all the cases that, like, for missing persons, SA, murders, like, when you do find these people who are involved, do you feel as if it's people who are normally close to the family and that they're found close to home? How often is it that they're found so far away?
Well, as far as a kidnapping goes, pretty much close to 50% of the time, like, Nancy would have known who they were. And the thing is, though, anyone being kidnapped over 70 with a ransom note, that's about 1% of the kidnappings. I can't believe Nancy is part of the 1% and was a stranger kidnapping. There's no way.
And where do you think, do you think she was close to home? I know you said potentially in the beginning she could have gone to Mexico, and I know in the ransom note said that they would return her back to Tucson. Do you think that she now, wherever she is, whether she's alive and she's no longer with us, do you think that she is close to her home
right now?
Yeah.
I would say yes. I would say somehow whoever did it, man, because look at that second ransom note. That person definitely cares about the family. There's no doubt in my mind that person has some feelings for the family, or they wouldn't have said the things they said.
And that's what I'm saying. They were apologetic. It seemed like they cared. And also, to me, it seemed like the first letter to the second letter was two different people. Just from how I took it, like, the first one was very demanding and was saying X, Y, and Z. The second letter was apologetic and was sorry for the passing of Nancy. And they say that they didn't mean it to be that way. So to me, I'm just trying to understand, because like you said, it seems as if they potentially have cared for Nancy or the family.
Well, I can't tell you how many times that I've seen two people like that involved, a man and a woman, and I don't care which one of them came up with the idea for the crime, that the man would say, okay, this is what we're doing. If I have to, I'll hit somebody, I'll take my gun or my knife or whatever I have, and I'll use it if I'm forced to. And then the woman, she's always, I don't care how mean they could be, they're always going to be the more compassionate one. And even in small cases with nothing hardly involved, that's the way people will be. The woman will be the compassionate one.
And that's what it felt like to me. It felt like the second letter was coming from a woman just by the way it was speaking. And yes, we think like potentially it was someone's words, and then those words were put into AI and then generated into a ransom letter. But you could just tell. And again, being a woman, like that was the first thing I thought about. I'm like, oh, I feel like this is coming from a woman's point of view.
Definitely. And even if the woman wrote it, and like I said, input it into the AI can tell you, oh, you're a woman, if you ask it. It's going to know. And it's going to fix it up and make it look nice based on that woman's, original notes. So
and a lot of people
get that.
Like there's a lot of people in the chat mix opinions, whether they think it's family, whether they think it's not family. Whether it's not family, I do think it was someone who was close to the family. That's what I'm saying. Right. I think it was someone who knew the family well, whether it was someone who worked for Nancy, who knew Nancy. And that's the thing too, is why do you think none of Nancy's friends are even speaking about Nancy? Do you think it's gag orders? Do you think they're told they can't speak? It's even not necessarily about the case, but keeping Nancy's name alive. Why is that? Why are they not speaking? Would that be something law enforcement would tell them do not do? Like we're asking you not to speak.
I've actually been a part of that myself, and I've done it. I have told people close to the case or that may know something or may have seen something, don't talk. Just please, you're going to hurt my case. And I wouldn't come out and give them enough information to know why, but I would just say, look, I'm on top of this. You're going to hurt me if you talk. So I believe they're the same way.
Go on for though. So say you approach someone and you said that you're working, and in your case, how long did that happen? Like where your case was actively going on, where you're like, okay, please do not speak about this. This is affecting my case, and it needs to be solved because we're 6 months into it. Like how long do they expect people not to speak? Would it be until the case is solved? Or in your situation, how long did that go on for?
It could go on up for a year, and it has. In some of them. And what can happen is people forget. I'm be honest with you, and that's another reason I believe they cut the coverage out, because they wanted people to start forgetting so they could make whoever did this much more comfortable. They knew who they were after. They wanted them to get comfortable, because you will make mistakes when you think you're getting away with it. You act differently, and everything you do, and they're monitoring whoever they've got under the microscope. They're monitoring every movement these people make, looking for that mistake. But reporting is not what it used to be. You used to have so many investigative, great reporters for all these news stations and newspapers go undercover and do things, and they would be going to these people's houses like crazy. Somebody would crack and tell you something. That don't happen anymore.
And that's what's hard. Right. It's like you're not getting as much people speaking out in that area. I know a lot of the neighbors right now are also super silent, and I get like they just wanted the streamers out of there. But it to me, it's like, why aren't you guys keeping Nancy's name alive? Why did the memorial come down? I guess that's also another question. Like, I have so many questions of like, why? Why is this case being handled in that way?
That could be family. That could be anybody.
Like family just saying, like, we don't want this. Like,
yeah.
To me,
let's say you're Savannah and it's somebody you know or family. You wouldn't want something like that up. I don't think. Not at all.
And for my question to you too is, what surprised you the most out of this case so far? Whether it's the way it was handled, whether it's the way it's being reported, or what they're not reporting, what surprised you the most from this? And again, being someone who has led investigations, who's been on investigations, what has surprised you the most?
Oh man, I would say the sheer bold nature of targeting an 84-year-old person. You know, with what I'd call a high-tech extortion demand. That's shocking. Like I say, that's 1% of the kidnappings, over 70 with a ransom. It shows to me a bizarre mix of sophisticated digital planning combined with a highly localized, high-risk physical removal of the body when whatever happened, if they're alive or they pass, you know. And that contrast usually points to a multi-person dynamic or someone on the inside. To me, it appears to be both. Two or more people that knew Nancy or in the family. I believe they had a well-organized plan, definitely not spur of the moment, definitely not strangers, and something happened to throw that plan into an uproar while it was happening, like an injury. That's what surprises me. So I don't believe it. I don't believe it was the, you know.
What are some unanswered questions that you personally have to whoever's working this case? What would be your questions that you would have for them?
For who's investigating it?
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, seeing from your point of view, what would be your questions to whether it be Sheriff Nanos or whoever in the FBI is covering this case? Like, if you were to hop on this investigation, or if you were to have some sort of conversation with them right now, what would be your questions for them?
My questions wouldn't be the same as yours or the average person, because I know what they're doing. I've got a really great idea of what they're doing, which I've explained a lot of that. But I would like to ask Nanos, why did you leave that mat at the front door? I think that was just a stupid mistake. But I'd love to hear him tell me that's what it was. And honestly, one-on-one with a retired police officer, I think he'd say, yeah, you know how it goes. That was a mistake. But I would ask simple things because I know the hard questions. I know what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's it's just like, you knowing someone who understands this and you understand the layout and you know what's going on behind the scenes. It's like, you know, the public just has so many questions that they want answered. And it's just,
they don't care.
They don't care. And do you think we'll ever get another, like, what do you think, looking at this case as a whole, what do you think would be our next update? Do you think we're going to kind of be at a standstill until either they find Nancy or a perp is identified? Because I think I was reading something earlier. They said that the FBI agents were maybe back in the neighborhood. I don't know if I read that correctly because I was prepping to come on this.
Yes, they were.
And do you think they're going back to to relook at evidence or ask neighbors additional questions? Like, what would they have missed 6 months ago that would cause them to go back into the neighborhood now?
Well, originally, another thing I would have done, I would never have released that property, not just the house, the entire property, for at least 3 months. That would have been an active crime scene for 3 months. And for at least a month, maybe more, but at least 30 days, I would have blocked that street off. And personally, I would have let a couple of news stations and a couple of YouTube streamers take turns with spots in front of the house. But I would have kept that closed down and locked down, because a year later, you could come up with something that could break the case, and you may need to go back to that house. But now look how many people's been through it. they may
Yeah,
not
I think
get that.
if reporters were walking up to it, I think Brian Enton was the one who reported the mat. I think he saw the blood on the mat.
Right.
So it's like, imagine how many shoe prints were up there, how much DNA, like all types of DNA that were added to that crime scene. And the fact that, and I know I've asked you about this before and we had the conversation, but why we wasted so much time, and I know the DNA came back negative, but all that time wasted but you said that's proper protocol too. So maybe explaining that to who's here right now from how the Sheriff Nanos took the DNA and sent it to their lab in Florida instead of going to Quantico. To you, that's proper procedure, correct?
Yes, exactly. And early on, even Brian Enton, who I think everybody kind of respects his reporting and his information, he even said he checked on that lab himself, and they are one of the best in the country at what they do. So I'll give the sheriff some credit for even having that lab as part of his inventory there. And by him sending it there, I don't see any problem with that. And at that moment, the FBI was not involved because he sent that off immediately. And when they got involved, the lab, not him, the lab turns it over to them. He had to tell them, but once they were involved, I'm sure he called them right away. As soon as you're done, you've got permission to send it to them. So I have no problem with that lab getting it. You know, that's an excellent lab. You go look at what they've done. They've solved many big cases themselves. They do things the FBI doesn't do, and the FBI does many things independent labs doesn't do. So there's nothing wrong with that.
So that was just proper protocol.
Right.
Also,
one of the few things I won't put him down for.
Yes, one of the few things that he did correct.
Yes.
Also, someone in the chat, Marianne, said, did you read they dismissed the blood? I think she's talking about the blood on the mat, that they dismissed it. Did you read about that?
No, I don't think I specifically saw anything on that. I guess that they would have had to have done that right off the bat. But I don't care. If anybody walked on that mat, you would want it.
100%.
What would they carry from the house or in the house or leave? I don't care. That mat would be in the evidence file.
And how is there just no DNA whatsoever in that home? And Misty said, so where's the lab results 6 months later? So I believe it went to their lab in Florida, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Rob. It went to the lab in Florida, did not come with any matches. So the FBI sent it to Quantico, and that also, from what I heard is that also came back with no connections.
Well, with my experience, let's say if I had 10 DNA cases, for example, you would have either the same information or even less than you have with this one. Just because it's important to the case, you're not going to get it. The public really doesn't need that kind of information. That's what you need to hold on to. So we've been told there was none found. We've been told the lab didn't find any. Who knows? Maybe they've tracked it down to one or two or more people. We don't know. They're not telling us. I can tell you that for a fact. They're not going to tell you.
And that's the thing. It's like, so we're all hung up kind of on the DNA, and that the fact that we're feeling a certain way, and that they're not kind of keeping us in the loop with everything. But you feel as if they're hard at work behind the scenes, and we're going to know something potentially if they come out with anything.
Right. And I'm sure you saw where everybody got hung up on so many simple things. Like the one thing he said, I've cleared the family. Everybody on YouTube got hung up on that. And I kept saying, please quit that. He knows no one is cleared. All you had to do was a little simple internet search yourself, and you'd find out that that wasn't true. But,
so to be clear, the family cannot be cleared, correct, until basically this crime is solved, until Nancy's found, until the perp is found. The family itself would not be cleared, correct? They may have a
Right.
Nanos may believe they have nothing to do with the case. There may be people in here in the chat and around that may feel the family something to do with it. But to be honest, there's no way that they can fully be cleared.
Well, let's just say, for example, they have one person and that person was on the other side of the country the whole week before, during, and after. And they went to that person and they said, well, that somehow they suspected them for whatever reason. Can you prove where you were? Let's say they were at a party with 100 people and all 100 sign an affidavit. We saw them there all night long. They were here the day before. They were at work the week after. You can only clear that person for not committing the crime in person. They could have been the mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't clear anyone until it's finished.
And has that happened before in like previous cases that you've covered? Have you seen those who want to clear, like, has family, not as like, what is the percentage that family is usually involved in cases like this, or someone close to the family? To me, it's never usually someone random. From what I followed, it's always someone who knows something or is involved to some aspect of their lives, because a lot of people think potentially it had to do with Savannah. She was going to be in the Olympics, and then not to like a short time prior to her going to the Olympics, she did a video and it brought her back home, and it was her with her mom, and they were at El Charo, and they think that maybe spiked people's attention toward the Guthries. Do you think that has anything to do with it, or do you think this is something that has been planned and all of that?
No, I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories, like the Epstein files.
Yes,
all those kinds of things. Yeah, and why did Trump say anything? Why has Kash Patel said anything? When I look at that kind of thing, I love a good conspiracy theory, and I've seen a lot come true. If somebody in the Epstein files was upset at Savannah for those interviews, which were years ago, I bet anything I have, they would have hired somebody to get back at her as quick, maybe no more than a year, but not even that long. They would have got back at her right away.
And I also feel like it wouldn't be in a ransom situation either. Again, no. The ransom notes aren't confirmed, but to me, if you're looking to retaliate on someone, it's not going to be from a money standpoint. They kind of would just unalive whoever they were looking to do this as. And I don't think they necessarily would even remove her from the home. Like Nancy was removed from the home. So to me, that gives me, there was clear intentions here of what they were trying to do from the start.
Right. I mean, they would have, if they would have done it in the home, I don't think they would have bothered with her mother anyway. But if they, let's say they did, they would have just gone in the house, finished the job, and left a big note just to Savannah. And you talk about that crushing her, that would have done it. Mm-hmm. But also at the same time, going through all this, you're going through all of this, and say you're kidnapping her and this. I mean, how long does an 84-year-old person live? They've already lived a good 15 years past the average female age, at least.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how long is she going to, how bad could you hurt Savannah? Yeah, you're going to crush her. But in the end, an 84-year-old could not wake up the next day. You just don't know. They could have found other ways to crush her more.
And I just wanted to go back into the ransom notes, because you explained it for those who weren't here in the beginning. Can you explain to me what stood out to you in those ransom notes again, and how they were written to you? Because I felt like that was very, very interesting how you explained that to me. If you could kind of repeat that again.
Well, I still believe that two people definitely wrote those first two. Definitely a man. I'm pretty sure they're convinced of that. Definitely a woman wrote the second one. The first person, that just sounded to me like they didn't care. They had no feelings. They didn't care about the person. They wanted some money. The second person has a deep connection. I mean, that's how I feel about it. The strangers would have been gone. They would have cut and run. You know, so that second person is somebody that's deeply involved, in my opinion.
Because why
And
send a
that,
follow-up? What would be the reason to send a follow-up to apologize and say that Nancy's no longer here and she's now in nature? What would be the reason? Like you're saying, it makes you think that there are feelings here and there's more of a connection than what we're being told.
why would Savannah put out a video, talking to him?
Yes,
Because
do you feel as if Savannah has an idea of who she's speaking to? Because to me, it felt as if that was very directed to someone.
well, let's just say if I had a case that was similar, and I had a woman just like her, and let's say it was a family member, I'd say you go talk directly to Betty Lou, your cousin. Go talk to her, heartfelt, direct, get with your people, the FBI people, and you all write that and put that together without saying it, but let her know you're directing it at her. I think that's what happened. I think they knew who they were directing it to, and everybody chipped in, wrote that, and she made that video and read it right off of what they all put together for her.
So the family has more to, because she always says, like, it's never too late to do the right thing. We know you were trying to do the right thing.
Come home.
Yeah, come home. She did note that. So like you said, it makes you think this is directed to someone, or at least they have someone in mind specifically. And do you think law enforcement guided her on what to say specifically in that video? Like you said, if that was X, Y, and Z, I'd say this. Like, do you think she's being told exactly what to say in those?
Well, the people she has, sometimes they call them handlers. They might have other names, but the handler is the person that's there if you need anything. They're your go-between between her security and her. And they got with whoever they had to help write that with, I'm sure they wouldn't do it without the FBI person, all of them sitting down. And I'm sure they respect Savannah 150% on everything. And they're going to listen to her. If she wants to say something, she's going to say it. And they're going to let her. So they knew who they were directing it at. And also, one thing to go back to, we had mentioned 50% of kidnappings are people that know them.
Yep.
Yeah. If you believe they're trying to do that.
And do you feel like, because we're using the ransom notes as we feel as if they're real. Do you personally, because we still have no confirmation whether those ransom notes are real or not, do you feel as if they are? I know we're speaking to them as we're using them towards the investigation, and we feel as if they are, but how do you feel?
From reading them, I believe it. And they would not say they believe it. Savannah wouldn't have said that either if they don't have something that would back it up. So I believe it for sure. I mean, why is somebody going to sit down and write sort of a heartfelt second letter?
To apologize and not ask for anything.
Right, and it's silly.
And that's what Misty asked. She said, if to go as far as to write and explain Nancy's video in nature, why not make it known where the body can be found? So that was another question I had for you. Why not take the ransom letter? I mean, why not take the ransom money and still give them the coordinates of where Nancy is? Do you think that person will ever feel sorry enough to provide that information, or why have they not done that yet? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I can say for facts that whoever did this never expected the whirlwind of media and everything that's been involved with it. They had no clue it would get this big. And I think at this point, they would be extremely worried and too scared because they would be afraid of evidence that could be collected at the scene.
Because you know that whatever is on Nancy still has to lead back to some sort of DNA, or do you think, and also I wanted to get into the pacemaker a little bit with you. Do you feel as if that's accurate, that I get like using a signal sniffer could get us to finding Nancy, but are they actually riding that low? Which I actually have someone who's going to be joining the show in the coming days he was a Black Hawk trainer in the military, so he's going to kind of go through that with us as well. But from your knowledge, do you feel as if that tactic works, or do you feel as if they're flying too high?
Well, at some point early on, that could have been possible, but I don't think they did enough with it. And the one guy that would have been flying that plane, the experienced one, he was grounded. He had all the experience in the world with that sheriff's department, and the sheriff had grounded him over. He said the wrong thing to a female employee in the office. I can't remember what it was, but it was a very minor thing. Mm-hmm. So when this case came around, he should have put that man in the air, and that would have made a little bit of a difference over the inexperienced one.
Yeah, so it's like they know what they're picking up, they know what they're looking for. They should have the best people in place at the time of this. And to know that they're, again, like the pacemaker, like they had this signal sniffer, do you think that kind of also drew the perp to potentially remove that off of her? I know that's extreme, but because they knew obviously this is in the public and know that it potentially could trace back to her, do you think that was potentially removed off of her?
I would say if it was someone close, if she was alive, they would have probably tried to find a way to do it with keeping her alive. I believe she was passed by them. Mm-hmm. So I believe they removed it. They removed anything like that.
Like they knew.
Yeah, they wouldn't have taken a chance.
And you know how they noted too, like the watch was left inside of the house and it was at the foot of the bed, I believe. Do you think they left that there on purpose? Like, why not take that with you? Or do you think they were just a little bit too worried?
I think they took it off of her and probably just discarded it, maybe threw it on the bed or something, and they saw it fall on the floor and they remembered that. And
that's
they had to, yeah, and they knew they had to provide some specific information, and they thought, hey, I remember that watch hit the floor. That could have happened like that.
And from all the previous cases that you worked on, and I know every case could be entirely different. I mean, we all have hope that we are going to find Nancy and we are going to find her perps, but what is the typical range from the cases that you worked on? And I know they're also different evidence, different perps. How long do they typically range for? Like, how long until we find, like, what has been the longest period, I guess you could say, that it took for you to find a missing person unalived where they are, or even finding the perp?
It's been 5 or 10 years. I mean, I'm sure around the country, there's been longer ones. You can go back and reopen a cold case and they catch people all the time. This one, I'm looking for this to be done in under a year. I've actually been, I've been expecting it myself anytime. In fact, if I could ask them, I'd be like, well, what are you waiting on? What do you want? Because I think you've got enough, but I still think it's because of Savannah, who she is and everything, and with the public. Could you imagine, let's say it was a very close family member. Imagine the fallout all over the place if that came out.
And that's what I think could be potentially, again, like whether it's family or a close family member, I think they know what harm this could do to the family or their personas overall. So I do think they're treading carefully with how that they're taking care of this case, I guess you could say.
Well, there's one possibility. Everybody thinks it was A&T. Okay, so many people think that. Well, the evidence points to it right Now, let's say what we're just going to say, let's say it was, okay? And Savannah knew that. I think she wouldn't want to lose her sister to prison or whatever could happen to her for the rest of her life. That letter sounded to me like she might have been talking to her like, hey, there's ways out of this. Step away from him, come home. That's a possibility.
And I think that's with any of the family or any of the close members. And like you said, allegedly, like just say, for instance, like it was them, this is what you're getting out of that message to her. So it's crazy to look at it from the outside point of view or from your point of view, you know, working on investigations for all those previous years and seeing and knowing what you know now and hearing from someone that from you saying you think it's going to be solved in under a year. We're 6 months in and we're all wondering, where is this case going? What's next for the Nancy Guthrie case? What's next for us? If you had to guess, like, what do you think the next step will be here for everyone?
I personally think they're waiting for someone to crack. They're hoping it's sooner than later. They have enough evidence, I do believe, they could go to court. But they've probably been told by the attorneys and the district attorney that I'd like a little more, or I would like this, or I would like that. You see that very often. And I think they're trying to wait to get that. If it gets to a point where, well, this person we're waiting on is not going to crack or come forward, they will go with what they have. They have to.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think that they know the public is really not going anywhere with this case. And again, it's like any other case that we've previously seen. Everyone is super hung up on it where they're not going to let this go. So it almost makes me feel as if like they're going to almost be pushed to answer in some manner or some way.
Right, at some point. Yeah, they're going to, I still think at some point, if somebody doesn't crack or something big does not happen to crack the case, they're going to take what they have forward. And you take how long that they had somebody's car. I can tell you for a fact, give me a week with some experts, I wouldn't need more than a few days, a week maximum. What took a month? What was found? And somebody said, wait a minute, look what we found. Let's tear that into a million pieces. We could probably find more.
And why do you think they arrested Luke in the first place? We never were fully explained to that. Like from an outsider, and like I said, with your previous experience, why do you feel like they arrested him? And why wouldn't they, or taken him into custody? Why wouldn't they have exposed what their reasoning for that was?
There's a couple of things, early on, I think the sheriff was all gung-ho. He was running the case. He was in charge of everything. When the FBI finally came in, they were still secondary. He would run everything to them instead of the other way around. And I think they might have got a little piece of evidence or something pointing towards him. And the sheriff might even have looked at that himself or one of his experienced people and said, I think we really got something here. Let's go get him. Let's take him down just like we would for that TV show they had. You know what I mean? Let's make it look good.
Yeah, and I think that was Nanos's like full on theory was, or what he expected out of this was like, I'm going to crack this case. It's going to be the best thing for my show. I'm going to, you know what I mean? It's going to be the best thing for, and I think he kind of went a little bit over his head. Whereas now we're all kind of like, where are we right now? Where are we leading to? It's just, we're kind of question mark where we are right now. And I think I see a lot of different opinions in the chat. We all have different opinions. And I love being open to hearing how everyone feels, because I feel like someone's opinion has to be correct. Like someone out there has to be thinking the right thing or the right person. When we find out what exactly happened that night, like, it's going to be one of the theories that we have all openly discussed, and I can't wait until we know who the person is and we can dive in deeper and get everyone's thoughts there. But it's just,
I think it's coming. That's coming. I think we'll be sitting here in less than a year talking about, why did they do it? Why did so-and-so do it? I think we'll be doing that.
and I can't believe it's been 6 months. Like, I cannot believe, I feel like in the beginning of this case, there was a lot of action and it slowly has trickled down. But I'm hoping we're going to hear some more information. But does anyone in the chat have any questions for Rob while we have him? If you do, just write it in the chat in the box and I will ask him. And if there's anything else you wanted to touch on while we're waiting to see if anyone writes in, I'd love to hear your additional thoughts or opinions, anything that you want to add to tonight's chat. And thank you again so much for coming on. I loved having you. I know the chat loved hearing a different opinion and different theories and thoughts. It is nice to be able to ask these questions because you have worked in investigation for a while, and being able to have someone's opinion that has done this in the past, it's nice. And again, we all think differently. We all have different ideas of what exactly happened. And honestly, my mind changes every day, like, of what I'm thinking, who is behind this. I'm just like, my mind spins. And it's actually having these conversations with people. Like, I'll be on different panels and I hear their point of view and I'm like, wait, you're making my head spin, because now I'm thinking the way that you're thinking, because that actually does make sense. But I'm still at the point where I just do not know. I personally think it's someone who's close to the family. I think that they I think that they knew what they were doing. There was a plan for this all along. Like you said, for 1% of 70 and above to be taken, there had to be more to this story. And will we ever know what happened behind the scenes? Like, will Savannah ever do a deep dive into what exactly was? What was her life?
She'll be writing a book. I think she'll write a book someday.
I think so too. Sam Lamb said, I think it's going to be a shocker when they bust everyone. FBI is going to show connections between detained, other suspects, corrupt sheriffs, and officials. Right. I think a lot of people are going to go down besides perps. I agree, because like I said, I think that there is more cover-ups here. Like, I think that there's corruption way beyond just within Nancy and her family and the friends. I think that there's corruption in the Pima County Sheriff's Department. I think there's corruption with whoever did this. I think there's different levels of it. And will we ever fully know the truth? I don't know, because will it actually ever come out? Because I think mainstream media hides a lot of it. And yeah, there's people in the chat saying family is not involved, and everyone's entitled to their own opinions, and will we ever find out? I hope so. And like I said, people could just be grieving in a different way, and we're not all privy to how people grieve, and we'll see. But
well, I want to mention two things. One, I might have mentioned those to you before in email. The photo of A&T originally at the beginning, where everybody says, "Oh, why are they hiding their faces?" They did it.
Yeah.
Okay. I can clearly see they're not trying to hide their faces. They're not stupid. They know there's no reason to hide their faces. You can pull their photos up all over the internet. People could follow them around and get all the photos and video they wanted. They are clearly, and if experts would look closer, they're covering their mouths. Mm-hmm. Annie is leaning down with her mouth covered. Tommaso has only got his hand over his mouth and his nose. They're talking. They don't want anybody reviewing that video later and having somebody read their lips. Is that suspicious? A little. Why?
It's like, what are you saying that you don't want people to know?
Right. That's suspicious. And the other thing is, one of his band members is a federal prosecutor. in the same courthouse that the other guy was just in court.
The Colella, right?
Yeah. I mean, is that another coincidence? That's a little strange to me. How is a band member right there in that set? And he's not a local, he's a Fed.
That's
I don't
what's
know.
really strange. I'm saying I
Yeah.
think there's deeper connections inside of
Right.
this than what we're being exposed to. And there's a lot of intertwines. And I think that it's hard for people to be able to process that there's internal cover-ups, I think. And it's even hard for our minds to wrap around that. Like there's connections all over this case. I don't know. Like
I'm not going to shy away from there being big connections, and still the people I believe close that did it, that they contacted and paid to do it. Somehow they got to them and convinced them to do this. So
yeah, and
what I
there's
believe
people in the
could be
chat
right.
who are saying, I think if family was involved, we would have known by now, but I'm on the fence, not enough information. Yes, and I think that as well, where I'm like, because she did that Instagram post and made sure she put like everyone's names in it, was that her just trying to say like, no, us and our immediate family, like we're all good. How do you feel about that?
I think she knows. I mean, if you look at her walking down the driveway to look at the flowers and the monument a good while back, she looks calm, collected. She smiles. She was looking better than on any of her videos. And look at the other two that's walking with her. They're holding each other up. Both of them are almost, one leans into the other one. And why is Savannah not broke up? She's broke up in every video. I heard early on, and Brian Inton brought this out, that the FBI knew who did it early on, right off the bat. They asked Savannah to walk down that driveway with certain people so they could see what they call their gait or their walk to compare it.
That's interesting. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that was early on when that happened. And then after Monks did his comparison with T and how the guy walks, I mean, they were like identical, 100%. I just thought that was so strange.
That's what's so strange. And I think a lot of people are pointing out the way that this person walks or their eyes, or I think everyone's just trying to pull whatever they can and mimic it to what we currently have as evidence. And that's what I'm saying. It's hard for a lot of people to point anywhere else besides the family, because as of right now, that's a lot of the information that we have. But again, I don't know where this is going to lead to. If it's someone who is close to the family, if it's someone who worked for Nancy, is it someone who, imagine if it's someone who had nothing to even do with Nancy or Savannah. Like, is there a chance for that? Because like we said, it's a 1% chance that Nancy would have been taken in her age bracket. What is the percentage of this being someone who has nothing to do with this family?
Well, the first thing I look at and I go back to, how would they have acquired all that information? Do you think they would have thought they could have gotten enough to spend the time to learn that neighborhood like the back of their hand at night? Like I said, it took me 2 years to learn the country down here, the back roads at night. And I lived here. I just don't think they're going to go through all that. It's just like if somebody wanted her killed, they would have done it sooner. They're not going to be sitting back 6 years after the interview and say, oh, hey, I think I want to get rid of somebody's mother. No, that's just stupid.
Yeah, like there's more to this. Like there was a reason that this was done. And a lot of people, I
go with what I see and what I hear, and then I put that together. And then I'll form my own personal opinion from that. And I to me, and I've always been very good. You give me a case, let me look at it. I don't know what it is. I've always been extremely good at evaluating things that's involved with it. Some things I'll see right through it. I'll say, oh man, right away I can see what's going on here. To me, this case, As far as who did it, whether they were hired or convinced by higher up people, I don't know. But I'm pretty set on who did it, who was involved.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of people are set on what they believe, and especially someone like you who's, you've seen things like this happen in the past. You've worked on active cases like this. So I'd be curious when all this comes back out and when we do have the Purparessa to come back to this conversation and we kind of pick up where we left off. I mean, I love keeping in contact with you too and chatting about theories and what's going on in the news currently or what we're hearing from one another. So I mean, I'm just thankful that you came on tonight and had an open conversation because I know you haven't gone live yet with anyone. So this was great. And I think everyone in the chat, like we're all going to have different opinions, but I think in general, it is nice to hear from someone who has worked in this field of work and we can kind of pick your brain and see what your thoughts are.
I was happy to do it and happy to be here. And I just think if it was a stranger or somebody they didn't know, they would have been asking for all kinds of help. They would have done it. This whole thing would have been handled differently. I know I would have. I would have let the Cajun Navy do it. I would have let everybody help. That was a question too.
People ask that a bunch of times in the chat. Why not allow the Cajun Navy to come in? Because like you're saying, you think because they know who's potentially behind this, and that's why they're not having searchers or things like that.
That's one thing that could be, which I think is probably the biggest possibility. Or Nana's didn't want to bring somebody in like that and find Nancy or evidence and make him look stupid because he did.
Yeah, and that's the question to me too, is like where do you potentially think that Nancy is buried? Like if I can ask that question, where do you potentially think she is right now? Do you think that she's behind someone's property? Do you think that she's maybe not fully together? You know what I mean? I don't want to say things that make me, in so many words, that's what I'm asking.
Right. I would say, we watched that, I think his name's AJ. He's always walking.
Oh, AJW, yes.
Yeah. I've sent him messages and I'd love to talk to him. I would say you're looking in the wrong places. The homeless didn't do it. They didn't put her body with the homeless. If I had to search, I can't remember the name of it, but there's some mountains with a lake or water that people have been in some of the YouTube videos. I forget the name, but that's where I would search.
Yeah, and so a lot of people, I know I've been hinting at it. I am going to Arizona. I am going with Max. We are going to spread awareness. If there's anything you feel, Rob, that we should be covering while we're out there, please let us know. I think it's super important to bring a fresh face out there and to have these conversations that I'm having with you, and these open conversations and spreading awareness as much as possible is super important. And to be heels on the ground, to be in person, I think it's going to be super important. And, there's just different ways of bringing these conversations to life. And I'm super happy having you here because you are previous law enforcement. Right. You've worked on so many investigations. So I'll take whatever you need to tell me, or if there's different locations, like you said, he's looking in the wrong spots. Like there's potentially she's behind someone's home in Arizona. Do you know what I mean? Will they ever find her because she's buried behind someone's home? That I think is what's really sad to me, because it's like, will that home have to eventually sell and then someone moves in there and then they find her? Do you know what I mean?
I haven't seen anything on that they've tore up anyone's property looking. And to mention one last thing, I don't know if you've really noticed or paid attention. Brian Enton has been saying a lot lately about it being a cold case and how his people, his connections with the FBI are telling him that. As soon as he said that the first time before that, not too far back, I'm like, well, that's a little funny and a little suspicious. All of a sudden, he's hot on this case Now he's sitting there all somber. My people are telling me it's a cold case. I think that they're telling him, please help us out. Let's put that information out there. This is a cold case.
And what do you think
that's
though
why he's
about
doing it.
TMZ? Because last week we got hit with Savannah saying one thing, we got hit with a Nanos interview saying nothing but white noise, and then we heard TMZ kind of end it. Do you feel as if TMZ is just kind of pulling this story into different positions to try to get just traction and followers on it, not necessarily actually having correct information?
I think they may have had something, whatever it was that you believe they had, that they'll blow it up 100% to make it bigger, to get the followers. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're all about the money. They're all about staying on TV.
Yeah. And that's my theory of that. So like I said, last week we had Savannah come out and just say, it's been 6 months. She gave you that video of herself. And then you went into Nanos, who basically said nothing new, but that they have all this extra video footage. And then you had the ending of it with TMZ basically ending it saying it's a cold case. So at the end of those three, my head was actually spinning. But now after chatting with you, I feel more confident that potentially there is a lot more legwork happening behind the scenes and that we will have more answers soon.
Like I told you, I was working on the theft of a camera for months behind the scenes, of course, with other things. But I was constantly on this because it kind of hit home with me, and I really wanted to get that person. And
Mm-hmm.
Almost a year later, they were shocked when I confronted them with all the evidence. So, yeah, if I'm doing that, and I did even more in the big cases, the FBI is doing even more.
And is there anything you can kind of tell the viewers and the public for us not to be so stressed? I guess for me as a whole, like I've said to you previously, I get super stressed out about cases like this because it makes you think if this was anyone else, their name is going to get lost. Like I know we chatted earlier about like the Holly Dasso case briefly, how I said, that's coming up on 3 years in September. That's not getting really any coverage at all besides 857. He actually was just in the chat and briefly chatting about it. It's not really bringing the proper coverage. So it's someone like Nancy who is missing 6 months now. Like, how do you basically tell the public to kind of sit back and know that the people are doing the law enforcement is doing their job? Because I personally don't trust mainstream media. It gives me not the best hope in Pima County sheriffs because of what we've seen so far. So it's kind of hard, I guess, for the public to sit back and think that new information will be released.
Well, if you took two cases, Nancy's and another 84-year-old woman, total unknown, those two cases are going to be handled differently. If I was running both cases, I would handle them differently. I would go 100% more aggressive with the unknown. I would help them even more out front. I would be more upfront with the media, with everybody. I'd just be super aggressive. I would handle Savannah and her case with kid gloves. And that's what they're doing. And I would just tell everybody, based on what I know, sit back, wait for the piece or pieces of evidence they are waiting on to fill in the puzzle, and then they're going to come forward. They are working. I'm telling you, they're working their butts off. That's literally what they're doing behind the scenes.
I don't think it's the sheriff department. I think it's the FBI. I think the FBI have made it very clear that they are not actively working with the Pima County Sheriff Department.
Right.
They have said, it took them the 4 days to get them in there to start with. And then they had that aircraft nearby to take the DNA. Like we already got into that, but it just makes me seem like they're not on the same page. So I'm just hopeful for the FBI to kind of take this over and bring this home and get us some answers and help us find Nancy and allow those who want to search or bring awareness to this case to bring it. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I think they have, and they will. I don't think they're just going to step out and say, this is 100% our case. They may not like him. They're not going to embarrass him
Yeah.
until
I think for
for the whole case, and it's an inner circle whether you like somebody or not.
Yeah, and that's I mean, Cash Patel had said enough for us to kind of read between the lines there. So
Right.
I think we know where they stand, where the relationship is. Designs by Laura said the fact that FBI hasn't taken over makes me feel evidence is for Arizona, not another state. So I guess she's basically saying she feels as if it's still within Arizona, but like you and I were saying, Rob, we feel as if she's potentially close to home.
Right. And Nanos has turned this over to them. He's not going to go on media and say, I've now turned it 100%. He wants to be involved when they crack it.
Yes,
And
he wants to be the one to take ownership and to put his little big boy pants on and grow a pair, and you know what I mean? But overall, he's kind of just standing very behind the stage, and like I said, doing these interviews with these brand new journalists because he knows they're not going to challenge them, even though they're doing wonderful jobs. But he's being very specific who he interviews with because he doesn't want to get stepped on.
They've probably told him, don't say anything stupid, please. Nicely, they've told him, But they're running this case. I don't care what anybody says. They're running it. They're giving him certain information, and he's just sitting back behind his desk waiting till they crack it, and he's going to be there.
Yeah, and I think it was a necessity for, I'm reading the chat, for the FBI to help the hand that they did. And we can all wish that they got there sooner than what they did. I think those 4 days were super critical. And I think that we lost a lot of information in those 4 days, whether that was DNA and it was footage that was never recovered. I think that caused a really big issue in the case and the amount of people that they had walking in and out.
I've said to myself, I wished I had called somebody else sooner, and I've kicked myself. It happens. Sometimes you can't help it.
Yeah, someone in the chat just said, why did Patel say otherwise 3 days ago? He said the state has the right. So I think Cash Patel did say, like, the state has the right and they're not going to take over without Nanos giving permission. But you're thinking this is happening kind of behind the scenes.
Right. He may not give them on paper, but he has told them this is your case.
Yeah, and I think he's previously said too, like, oh, that's the FBI's duty. Like the FBI is doing that. Basically kind of like pushing all of this onto the FBI. Which I have heard him say I've watched quite a few Nanos interviews in the last few weeks. And it's honestly,
but wait till they solve it. He'll be there.
Oh, he will be there giving all the information he shouldn't be saying, like twisting his words. It's just honestly astonishing that he's still in that position.
Well, not to me, because I won't get into politics, but he's there because of politics. The politicians helped him get where he's at so they can control the sheriff's office along with the political situation in that area.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with, if someone just said he's going to take credit if something happens, but no blame. 100% agree, FinFan. I think that's what he lacks as someone in a higher up role. Whereas if you need to take ownership when things go down and when things are positive, and we're not seeing the lack of, support in that area from him. He's just not good in that role, and he should not be in that position ever.
No.
It's just scary and you see this a lot, like in my state. I don't know if you've heard of it. There was a murder on Middle Beach, and a woman got murdered in the daytime, literally right in the middle of the morning. It was a very wealthy neighborhood, and she was murdered very badly. They still haven't found who the killer was or who it is. They have no suspects. This has been years. There's been documentaries on it. Her son did a documentary, and it just shows that the police department that handled it, they really messed up like the DNA handling. It just shows a lot of locations are not equipped to handle these types of cases, and it makes you really feel unsteady in your own where you live.
Right. And they're a big area. Imagine if she had lived in a little country area where they've never had anything happen.
Well, that's exactly what's happening. And the Jennifer Dulos case, I'm sure you've heard of that case. That was also in my state.
Right.
They still don't know where she is. They have no idea where she is. And that's really scary to know that you can literally just go missing. And there's no way to trace back to where you are. And with everything that we have and all the tools the FBI has, it really makes you like question the authority above you.
Well, just real quick, where we live in our little town in the middle
Oh,
of
wait, Rob, we
nowhere.
just got a question. I'm curious.
Oh, okay. Go
Misty
ahead.
wants to know, what is Rob's opinion on how Nanos made the position of Pima County Sheriff after what he did in Texas and lied to be in the position?
You know what? They either just, I don't know how they overlooked it, but anything can be overlooked when somebody's sitting at a desk and then pushing that information on to the person doing the interview. Maybe the person's doing the interview didn't read it all, or, I go back to the political situation there. He had a lot of help getting the job. I
was going to say, it's what you know. It's not
right.
What you know, it's who you know. So potentially they were aware of everything that he has done, lied, and they still gave him that role potentially because he knew the person who was going to be giving him that role. Do you feel that way?
Right. And the politicians there did not want the other person to be sheriff. So
they kind of had two crappy people go up for this role, and they gave it to the less crappier person, I guess you can say.
Right. Well, the crappy helps them. Easier to control, easier to get them to help you when you need it.
We got another question from Dom C. I love Dom C. Dom C, Misty, everyone, FinFan, everyone's been awesome tonight. Who's your daddy? Everyone that's in the chat, you guys have been so much fun. Dom C said, do you think the task force is able to limit the information they give nonads because he slips up all the time with media?
He doesn't know what they get.
So he's not really privy to the FBI's information, potentially.
No, if they get 10 calls or they go on 10 calls to the actual places and talk to people or do anything or pick up physical evidence, they might tell him one or two of them, or they don't have to tell him anything. How's he going to know?
Mm-hmm.
And why would he care? He can't do nothing anyway. I still think he don't care. He's living his life. He's trying to stay out of the spotlight with it. And he's just waiting until they solve it.
And that's the thing, like, you can definitely tell he's literally living his life. Like, when Nancy went missing, I think he was at the gym the next morning, not on site. When when someone's super invested in their job and they care about everyone that they're looking over in their district, like, he should have been on site from morning to end. And that night when he did that first interview, he just kept talking about how cold it was. And then he also was stating, he originally started off the conversation by stating, there were some issues inside the home that made them call the homicide unit. But in another breath, he was stating that Nancy could have got up and walked away. And if you see her, let us know. So it's kind of like, to me, from the beginning, he had no care in the world to do what he was doing. He didn't want any part of this case.
Right.
And he also noted from the start that there was going to be a lot of media on this case because of who she was. So it's like he knew what was coming, but I don't think he thought that it was going to continue on as long as it is, with people still covering this.
Nobody could have known what this has grown into and what it was when they were all there. Nobody could have guessed it.
Designs Laura said, I wonder if Nanos is secretly under investigation by the FBI. We've seen that happen with other other police officers. I don't know if you followed the Karen Reed case, but the FBI also was investigating a lot of the police force there because of the Karen Reed case. So I feel like that is possible. What do you think? Or do you think they're kind of just like done with him?
No, I just don't think they're going to do anything to rock the boat now. They might have some plans when it's over, though.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There has to be some sort of repercussion for him. Like for me to think that this man is just going to get away with everything that he's done and everything that he hasn't done and just retire and be happy, and it just doesn't make sense to me.
If it's all about being inept, inexperienced, and just plain stupid or just not caring, there's nothing they can do to him except his own people fire him or get rid of him. But if it's all about that, then the FBI can't do anything. He'd have to be breaking some laws while he's doing this.
And corruption runs deep. Like I learned that from the Karen Reed case with everyone in that police force that was under investigation when they were brought to court. It just shows you that it's not solely one person. So if Nanos is not doing his job correctly, it just makes you think that that is running deeper than what we as the public know. Especially, like I said, with the Karen Reed case, it kind of just kept spiraling. Half of those cops are not employed anymore. And I mean, I would love to get into that case. I watched it every single day, the court, but that showed me how dirty law enforcement potentially could be. You know what I mean? And I know, no offense, I know obviously you are not, but that's just how I see it as a public citizen. Like if someone's not doing their job correctly, or if Nanos got hired in this position knowing he lied, there has to be someone else within that role that is corrupt and is not following protocol.
You also have to have a non-corrupt political system in Tucson. And I don't believe that. I believe that might be the whole place corrupt. And it just filters down. I believe they put him in place because they're corrupt. And the whole system is there.
It's just going to keep trickling down.
Right.
Hi, Beach Girl. I'm so happy you're here. I love her. But yeah, it's just, like I said, it's just going to keep trickling, and it makes me worried about who even will take over Nanos' spot, because you have to think that person who's going to take him over, like we want a clean shot of it.
Right. Well, real quick, the story I was going to tell you, next door to us in our little town,
yeah,
it's been many years ago, a young girl in high school disappeared from a party. A guy took her home at 9:00 on a Friday or Saturday night from a party. Right there, I found that hard to believe. But anyway, they found her car the next day in a field, an empty field, and all her stuff was there. To this day, she's never been found. Well, I've studied the whole case myself, looked at everything. And to me, there was one clear suspect. He either knows who did it, how it all went down, and he's the one that was with her. He supposedly dropped her off, but yet her car was found in a field. Anyway, I've suspected him from day one. He moved out of the area at the time. He just recently, about a year and a half ago, started dating the lady next door who has a teenage daughter.
Oh no!
Nobody else around knew it was him. I knew it. I found out right away it was him. They moved out of their home and moved in with him. I mean, you just don't know. He either knows or he did it.
He knows more, yeah. And they still have never found her, you're saying?
Yeah, everybody believes they buried her up here at the high school because they were building a new high school or a new section. And so a lot of people believe they put her in there because they filled it in like almost the next.
So she could be like buried under cement. And I also think about that with Nancy, because there was houses that were being updated, I believe, in her neighborhood. So it makes me think, like, what if she's somewhere in the cement or she's under the house? Right. It just makes you worried about that, because you really could be buried anywhere. But I also want to highlight this too, Liberty and Just for All. There are a few places that have corrupt officers. Most of the people watching these cases are police family, and we can speak to it. I agree. I just want to point out that there were, after watching the Karen Reed case, that pointed out to me as a whole that corruption does exist, because I had it in my mind that there was no way there could be corruption inside a police department. I always looked at it as like, this is the highest end of security for me. But I think just keeping that open mind that this can happen. And yes, as it may be rare, I'm just pointing out that it could happen. Hey, Blue Cats.
Anything's possible these days.
And that's what makes my mind absolutely spin, that things that you're once, hey D, things that you're once thinking could never happen or not possible, for an 83-year-old woman to be taken out of her house in the middle of the night, for us to still not have someone in custody, that's alarming. And for us to have very little information that's being provided, like you said, they're probably just not releasing a lot of this information to us. It's just still, it's just scary. It's very frustrating.
Yes.
It makes you just worry about yourself and the life that you live and your safety. Because like, again, 83 years old getting taken, you said that's less than, did you say it was less than 1%?
If you're over 70 with a ransom note, it's 1%.
That to me just blows my mind. We're having a lot of new chatters join right now. But is there anything else that you want people to know about this case that you feel as if maybe we, as someone who aren't law enforcement or have worked in investigation fields, that we should be aware of, and that we should take into consideration as we review these cases and we chat about them?
We've covered everything, but just everybody needs to understand they're going to keep working at this and they're not going to stop. And there's always going to be some, because it is high profile, they will definitely not let this just disappear. There'll always be somebody working on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, whether it's not the Pima County Sheriffs, it is the FBI, or it's going to be your YouTubers, or it's going to be anyone who is just actively chatting about this case. But I want to thank you so much, Rob, for coming on again. And thank you so much for your service and contributing and answering all the questions that we had tonight. You were amazing. And I'm just super excited to, continue this conversation down the road.
Definitely.
Yeah, I know you and I will stay in touch and tell your wife I says hello. Hi, Rock Dog Mama. Thank you for being here. I'll stay on a little bit after Rob hops off, just so we can kind of debrief off of everything that we chatted about with him tonight. But yeah, I mean, thank you so much again. And you were amazing. And we'll be in touch, and anything that you want to chat about in the future. Oh, we're going to see the face. We're seeing the face.
There I am, just so everybody knows I'm not hiding. I'm typical 65-year-old man. So
where's your wife? We want to say hello.
Well, let's see.
Hey,
there
Queen.
She is in her chair.
Thanks for sharing, Rob, tonight.
Yeah. So, and I appreciate you having me on, and I've had a great time here, and we both enjoy watching you. So
yeah, no, thank you so much for all the support. Yeah, you found me on JLR, and since then you've been so supportive. And I mean, I'm happy I went on his channel. It kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone, because I've always watched true crime, and going on and him answering the door that day, it was kind of just like, things happen for a reason. And I've met all these wonderful people. I've made so many friends on here. Being able to chat with you daily, it's just been amazing. And I feel like I love being here. And now look, I'm going to Arizona.
You're doing a great job.
Who would have thought? I do fashion during the day and true crime, I guess, at night now.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. We can't wait.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to go outside of Nancy's, and I look forward to, if you have any, like I said, if you have any things that you want me to take a look at while we're there, definitely let me know. We'll be in touch. But whenever you're ready.
Night, and I appreciate everybody that joined in. So just have a great night, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rob. Have a good night. All right, guys, I'm just going to stay on for a few more moments. I just wanted to thank everyone for being here tonight. And the Tucson Gem Show would have been a good time for a fashion person. I know, Laura, especially Max and I. But thank you so much to everyone that's tuning in, that's here tonight. Rob and I have he's been emailing me from the start, like I said, of when I initially went on JLRs. They love to hear my perspective, and knowing that he was law enforcement and an investigator in the Army, I think it was great to kind of hear his perspective and be able to ask questions. And we all have our own opinions. We have our own theories and our thoughts about what happened to Nancy. And at the end of the day, we just want to know what happened to her, where she is now. Thank you so much, Birds Mama. Oh, I love that name. That is so cute. At the end of the day, we just want to know what happened to Nancy. I never thought that my channel would grow as fast as it did, and I am so thankful for each and every one of you. And I'm excited to bring you all with me to Arizona and take this next step. I'm not going to say the dates that I'm going, but I can say it is coming within the next few weeks. It's a very quick turnaround. Max and I are going to be heels on the ground, and we're going to bring it, and we're going to do everything that we can to bring awareness for Nancy and bring you guys along, because I think it's super important to take you guys with me. You guys are now all of my friends, and it's just been super, super fun. I'm loving this. I'm loving coming on at night with you guys. Yeah, Deanna. And thank you, Who's Your Daddy? That name just kills me. Who's Your Daddy? Misty, thank you so much for being on tonight and keeping the conversation going. Blue Cats and Brenda, it's everyone. You guys have all been so sweet to me, all nice. Very little trolls. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, if there's anything that you guys want to see from me next, I do, just to keep you guys in the loop, I do have, because I also work in aviation, I am friends with someone who, he was a Black Hawk trainer. I don't know if I'm saying his role right, so I don't want to speak poorly or not give him the correct credit. I actually think I have it right here. So he was let's see what he is. He left as a major, and he's a Black Hawk instructor pilot. So he's going to be my next guest that we bring on. He's going to be able to answer all the questions about the two aircraft that went out. The first one originally went out at 6:30 p.m. the night that Nancy went missing. That was trying to pick up maybe seeing anything out of the normal, and then also chatting about the sniffer that was on the helicopter that went out, I believe, 10 days after Nancy went missing. So he's going to bring us into the role of a Black Hawk pilot, training pilot. He's awesome. Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. Liberty Just for All. I want to keep this, keep my lives educational. I want you guys to learn from them. I also want to learn from them. That's why I want to bring on people that I feel like we're all going to be able to ask questions to and have an open mind. I think that is very important. Again, having an open mind and not judging what people are saying, because I want to hear what everyone has to say. I think that no opinion is a stupid opinion. And my gal pal actually worked on Black Hawks in the military. That's awesome. I wonder if they know each other. He's super well known in the military. He actually flew for the company that I worked for. And yes, no politics, no trolls. We're not going to get into any of that. Oh, I love you, Linda. Thank you, Magic Square Moose, for all the tulips. Oh, Missy, you're beautiful. I love that you and I are friends. We're going to meet up next time I come to Alabama. This is going to be the year of travel for Michelle, heels on the ground. Dom C, I can't get your song out of my head. I listened to it. I sang it to Max. I sang it to my dog. Can't get it out of my head. So keep making them, Dom C. You're doing an awesome job. If anyone is not following Dom C yet, please do. We're trying to get on a live together. I know tomorrow I'm going to be hopping on a live with just Max, Crystal, and Ted at noon. So if anyone wants to join us there, we can share the link. I believe Max is going to be hosting that. I missed a bunch of texts while I've been on here. Oh, love your dog, Michelle. He's so handsome. Yeah, so he's a German Shepherd. Yeah, Max is going to be live tomorrow, 12 o'clock. He's hosting myself, Crystal, and Ted. Anyone else who wants to join, let us know. Oh, that's great. Noon Eastern time, Eastern Standard Time. We're on the Northeast, so 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We'll all be on. And let's see. 12 p.m. your time. Yeah, Dom C, 12 p.m. Oh, do you want to join, Dom C? I know I have your work schedule. You just texted it to me, so I'll have to go through that. But if you're home, Dom, feel free to join. I think it's just going to be open conversation, open panel. We're just going to chat Eastern time. Yeah, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central time. I'm also going to have to get used to, thank you, TC, for the jewels. I'm going to have to get used to this Arizona time. Also, the travel. I was looking at the flights. It's literally like a day of travel because nothing. Hey, Jaylene, thank you for being here. It's not just straight out of our airport. There's a layover and then you're there, and then they're 3 hours behind us, I believe. So I literally think we land super late. But the next morning we're going to be heels on the ground running, and we're going to take it to the next level. So watch out, everybody who is there. We are coming for you. I think you guys are going to really enjoy our duo, and it's going to be a surprise because, like I said, we're not telling you guys when we're coming, but it's coming very soon. But yes, my dog is a 6-year-old full black German Shepherd, he's trained in German as well. I had a correctional officer train him when he was a puppy because German Shepherds can be a lot of work, and we wanted to ensure that he was going to be perfect. Some fly to Phoenix and drive to Tucson. Yeah, Laura, but myself and Max are the worst drivers that you will ever meet. So I'm still contemplating on if we want to rent a car, or if we're just going to Uber everywhere. We keep Uber alive in Connecticut. So yeah, we're probably going to Uber around because I am not driving with Max. He literally just got his mirror taken off in Europe. I don't trust him. And then I'm not a bad driver. I'm a safe driver, but I just don't know the roads in Tucson. So I'm just going to be super careful. Rat dog mama, it's all black too. I had a German Shepherd mixed with Lab and Husky. Love the high ears. I have 2. Yeah, and Fritz, that's the name of my dog. He's obsessed with me. So he literally follows me everywhere, doesn't let anyone near me. He's the best. He's such a lovable dog. But he sits through all my true crime chats. Like, he's down here waiting for me because he's like, time for bed. But yeah, I am super excited. I can't wait to get out there. I think it's going to be amazing. And there's very little people that know when we will be there. So it's going to be a surprise for you guys. You're going to wake up one morning and we're going to be sitting in front of Nancy's. And I think that people are going to appreciate that because it has been a while since we were able to cover in front of Nancy's house. And I've never been there. So I want to see what the view is from the street to her house, because from us where we're standing, it looks like it's a long driveway. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like the houses are super spread apart. So it's just very interesting. Yeah, Lisa, I hate driving in places not familiar with. I get lost in my own town sometimes. So it is, I don't drive often. I literally do not. I don't enjoy it. I make Max come and get me sometimes when we're going to Pilates, or if we're going anywhere, it's either one of us driving. We both hate it. So we'll see, but it's hard to keep up with all these channels to sub to. I'm on enough of them as it is, plus my own personal channels. Oh, well, thank you for being here then. Yeah, TC, we're excited as well. Oh, they're bad drivers in Tucson. Okay, good to know. Beach Girl, thank you so much for always being here and being so supportive. She's literally the number one here. My first member, my first, I think, super chat I got. She gifted memberships. And again, none of that is to be expected. Just having you guys here is amazing. But I do honor her and I love her. So thank you so much. Renda Limo, set as local crew of true crime peeps come for your town and take them. It's you, hold up signs, etc. Rent a limo bus. Imagine Max showing up to Nancy's in a limo bus. That would be wild. Also, how cute this is Fritz's bow tie. It's little sharks because Shark Week just ended. Hi, Jody. Hi, Serene. But yeah, I think, and I know you can't park in front of Nancy's anyway, so we'll just Uber there. And we're not staying far, so we'll be around. And then Max also wants to go to, what is that? Michelle, my pleasure. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we also want to go to the Mexican restaurant where El Charo, I think it is. We were already looking at the menu. We also want to know which, I need to ask my Arizona friends. We want to know if there's a Buc-ee's there. I don't know if there's anyone from Arizona in the chat. We want to go to Buc-ee's. We have a list of things that we want to get to while we're there as well. I want to get some flyers made for Nancy so that we could pass them out while we're there as well. Go to any businesses and ask them what they're thinking. Hey, Janet. Yeah, because I feel like also getting live reactions too, to say, oh, thank you, Lisa, for the jewels. Getting live reactions and asking people like, are you aware of the Nancy case? What do you know about the Nancy case? I mean, we've asked people where we live in Connecticut, like, what do you know about the Nancy case? And some people are like, oh, who's Nancy? Like, we didn't even know she was missing. So that's very alarming, especially I see this as national news. You should be aware of people that are go missing out of their homes in the middle of the night, especially 83-year-old woman. Thank you, Janet. Yeah, I thought it was a good interview as well. Like I said, I want to keep these interviews educational. I want to just bring on as many people with as much knowledge as possible. I have reached out to a bunch of other people as well, which I thought was really cool. I don't even know if I should be saying this, but maybe I shouldn't say. Maybe I'll wait until it comes out and then maybe I can share you guys the work. But I'm working on a celebrity's wedding gown. She's wearing it to, it's more of like an event dress, but he does a lot of creepy movies, really big name. So I am super excited to share that when it does come out. Very people at my work know about his case. I told them to sign up to my channel. Dom, see, your channel is awesome. Like, you show with your slideshow, your presentation, your songs. You give a lot of good information there. And I love how supportive, especially you, Missy, everyone in this chat, you guys are so supportive of the streamers, and everyone wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, especially for being here and being live and pushing us to continue to do this. I think it's great. Hey, Chris, welcome in. Yeah, I can't wait. I work with a lot of people, but I haven't shared the work that I've worked on yet because I don't necessarily want to say what designer that I work with because I feel like that will give it away. But because this person, we do a lot of bigger names, but one day I'll start sharing more. There's a Buc-ee's in Goodyear, 101 Boulevard Ave, 30 minutes from Phoenix. The only one we have. It's brand new. Okay, good to know. Maybe we'll have to, take an Uber there, I guess, because we're not driving in Tucson. There's just no way. Especially since someone said they're horrible drivers over there. Michelle, there's a Buc-ee's in Goodyear. Yeah, only one in AZ. Okay, I wonder how far that is. I'll need to pull up my maps. I'm also someone who makes full-on agendas, so I will be making an agenda for myself and Max itinerary, basically covering the times, the places we're going to be. So we'll have a full few days planned, lots of coverage. We're going to be bringing you guys along. The way things are done now, opposed to 30 years ago, is crazy. It's digital age now. 30 years ago, Nancy would have been on every news channel. Milk cart. I agree. So why aren't they showing her more? And I understand if there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of, that they're just not sharing with us. I get it, but give your people something. Like, let us know that you're doing what you can, or give her like a 20-minute, oh, hey, Wayne, we investigates. Jim survival, hey, Jim. Just give us something, put her at the end of a 2020, or do a 2020 special on her. Don't you think she deserves that? Max wants to ask Nanos for an interview. Oh, Tina, thank you so much. If you need anything, let me know. That's sweet. I know I probably will get homesick, but it'll be fine. Once we're there, we'll be good. Because I'm going to have all you guys with me. So, but yeah, why, I don't understand why they don't do these short, like 20-second clips, that even if it's not just in Arizona, if it's somewhere, oh, that's cool. Sorry, I keep getting sidetracked by the chat, guys, because everyone's telling me what to do while we're in Arizona. You should go paddleboarding at one of the lakes. So we have all that where I'm from. I'm on the East Coast right now. It's like the best time to be here. Oh, thank you, Serene. To be here on the East Coast, because we have paddleboarding, boating. But maybe we can get to a lake at some point. We're going to be there for a few days. Wonder if anyone get a hold of John Morris, have him do America's Most Wanted, showing Porch Guy. Yeah, I feel like as much coverage as we can, and bringing this to as many people as possible. I think that's the biggest way of getting Nancy's name continuously out there. I think that's super important. So having these, oh my God, thank you. Gifted one membership. Thank you so much, Homicide Detective Daughter. Oh, just Jaylene, you got it. That's awesome. I usually have Shibby on here reading these out loud. I know, and that's the issue. I miss my pup when I'm away. But yeah, Max and I have really packed upcoming schedules. We have a lot of travel going on between work. I have Fashion Week coming up, so I am prepping for that as well. So I'm trying to fit everything in right now. And I just love being with you guys. So making time for this has been super important for me. And like I said, I think it's just, everyone should be aware of what's going on. And even if it's 85 people who are alive with me right now, those 85 people, or 86, it keeps going up and down. You guys have a little bit more of an open conversation. You guys are here listening. You're chatting with me. I'm listening to your questions, what you recommend me to chat about. But like I said, I want to keep this very much as a educational live, where we're covering true crime and we're going through things. And I want to chat about other cases, but right now, like, an 83-year-old woman is missing and we don't know where she is. And I know this has happened in a lot of other states. But oh, Liam, hi Michelle, I just subscribed and wanting to stop and show support. I've been taking care of my service canine, looking at feasible starting a channel, going around supporting. You should. I feel like I remember, I hope your dog is doing well. I've been thinking about, I'm a huge dog person. I advocate for animals all the time. So I definitely will show support to your channel if you want to start that. Wow, an hour and 30 minutes, Buc-ee's from Tucson. I don't know then if I'll be hitting that. That's pretty far, especially with all the travel that we're doing just to get there. But maybe I can Uber something to us from there. Yeah, because like I said, that from Connecticut to Arizona, it's a long travel day. So, oh, 5 rescue dogs. What kind of dogs do you have? And I know I've literally been on for almost 3 hours now. I just want to sit and chat with you guys because I wasn't reading the chat when I was talking with Rob. I wanted to really focus and ask the questions to him that I had written down. I had 4 pages of notes, guys. for 2 nights. That's the thing with me is I'm always coming prepared. I'm always asking questions that are going through my head. And I always prepare for these lives because I want to make it special for you. And I want you to feel like you're getting something out of it. Concerning the first of mankind. Yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of other cases, especially in my own state, that are being overlooked or not being covered properly. So I would love to, chat more about that in the future. Jody, I have almost a 10-week-old mini dachshund on my lap. Oh my God, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. I love puppy breath. Kiss them, take it all in. Yeah, I definitely, once Fritz passes, I definitely want to adopt a dog. And I think I want a golden too next. I already have a name picked out. I want to use the name Bowie for my next dog. And I like the name Reese for a girl. So I like Reese and Bowie. I don't have kids, so my animals are going to be my kids forever. They actually have senators. Puppy breath is the best. Isn't it the best? I literally am obsessed with puppy breath. I could bottle it up and just smell it for the rest of my life. Oh, thank you so much, Liberty Just for All. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you everyone for being here. If you have not liked and subscribed, please do so. I appreciate it. I want to continue to bring you guys interviews like this. I really enjoy asking questions, and because it's what floats in my mind, and I'm very aware of what people are asking in the chats, and I love having these conversations. I read every single email that I'm getting from you guys. And I make sure that I try to cover as much as I can. I'm getting a lot of people who are requesting coverage on specific topics. So please send them in. If there's a case you want to chat about, let's discuss it. 1 Pitty, 2 Chihuahuas, 1 German Shepherd, 1 Corey, 1 Terry. Wow. Thank you, Tina. And thank you, Tina, for the emails as well. And good night. But wow, that's a group, homicide detective daughter. You got a full-on group right there. I mean, my 1 shepherd is like having 20 dogs, I feel like, with the amount of effort and walks and all that gets put into it, the training, it's a lot. Yes, Jaylene, I agree. Read Missy's Evans comment. Oh, I didn't see it. Hold on, let me go back up. Did I miss it? Oh, I'm an Uber and Lyft person. I gave you a ride at 857. I can take you all there. If you have an email, I will give you my info. Oh my God, that is so nice. My email is literally so long. I'm like, should I change it? It's heelsonthegroundofficial. Here, I'll put it in the chat. Don't mind my typing, guys, because it's probably going to be loud. groundofficial@gmail.com. I literally read every email. Someone's offering Airbnbs in California, tickets to Stagecoach, which I've always wanted to go to Stagecoach. So maybe I will take her up on that. Oh, my mom and I had a Shih Tzu named Daisy. And yeah, that was our family. That was the last dog that I had, my mom, before she passed. So Shih Tzus are very special to me. heelsonthegroundofficial@gmail.com. I put it in the chat. I'll pin that there so you guys can email me with whatever questions you may have. Oh, Missy, 2 golden doodles are my babies, literally my children. Same. I love animals. Not that I don't like kids. I work too much and I do too much. There's a lot more I want to do with my life before I do anything like that. Let's see here. Homicide has to buy. Oh, they're to me as well. I love them. Yeah. And I see a lot of like our generation now going more into animals. Like, I will rescue 1,000 dogs. I would love to be at the point where I can donate so much to animals. I do it monthly, and it may not be a lot, but I still feel like I'm helping. If I see a dog that needs surgery, I'll donate money to that. If I see a dog that's in need of a home, I'll share it. Like, anything that I can do to help an animal, I'm there. To me, I'll be watching a movie and I would rather see something else happen, just not an animal. Please, not the animal. OTC, thank you. I appreciate that. I try to. I literally I go through who I'm going to be having conversations with, what I can ask, what I thought about. I just think it's very important to ask those questions that other people may be thinking as well, because again, as it's someone who has their own specific opinions on something, it may not align with what we think, but I am open to hearing everyone's views. And I think that's what's also really nice about hopping on these other channels and panels. It's because you're hearing so many different people's views of what they're thinking. Oh, I'm considering the animal and I could really use a Snicker bar. I don't understand, Chris. What do you mean? I bet I have something you guys don't. LOL, Jaylene, what? If an animal is not okay movie, I will not watch it. Oh my God, same. And always I'll be watching 48 hours. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but anytime you're watching 48 hours or 2020, the animal commercial always comes on. It's the Arms of the Angel song. It's so sad. I literally have to turn it off. I get upset or I'll mute the TV. I'll put it back on when it comes back. But then all of a sudden it's literally on every single commercial. They want to put that terrible video up with the song going, the animals upset. It's terrible. I can't watch it. It hurts my soul. My friends own a 501c horse rescue in the Florida Panhandle. Oh my God, that's awesome. Yeah, there's a woman who in my state who takes a lot of horses that they didn't live the best lives. So I went and I brought them some food, and I love doing things like that. I'm always hopeful that they'll know that I have a gentle soul and that they'll want to connect with me. I'm just hoping one day I get that from an animal. Oh, it's a damn talk to text. Never mind. Chris, so do you want a Snickers or not? Or Twix, whatever you said. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to delete that. Sometimes I have, oops. Sorry, Liam, I deleted your comment by accident. Can you resend that? I didn't mean to. Oh no, Jaylene, you have a broken foot? I'm sorry about that. I've never broke anything. My arm comes out of the socket. Not that anyone needs to know that, but I used to play softball and I was a cheerleader. So I did, the backward handsprings, throwing, all of that I really injured my arm. So it literally still pops out. Took me over to name mine, but Cooper was I love the name Cooper, Lisa. That's a really cute name, but Cooper was my top 3. I ended up naming him Zorro. I love Zorro because he had a black looking mask around his eyes. That's adorable. We don't deserve our fur babies. And that's what I'm saying. Like, how can we love something so much that we can't even have a conversation with, but we just know that it's unconditional and they're always going to love us no matter what. I mean, you have a bad day, you look at your animal and you're just like, you make everything better. I just want to hug you, kiss you, love you forever. For anyone who doesn't like animals, I don't trust you. I'm sorry, but I don't. That's just Jaylene. Do you have it in a cast? Oh yeah, I forgot about Jane Howes. I broke my left foot. Oh yeah, how did you break it, Jaylene, though? What did you do? Hopefully you feel better soon. But yes, please, everyone, if you're here, like and subscribe. I feel I am failing my boy. Oh, why? Why do you feel that way? I'm sure you're not. Honestly, like you can literally just be sitting in your room with your dog, watching a show, giving them pets, giving them their favorite treat, and they're just so happy to be there with you. When I went to New Orleans, I saw a lot of homeless on the street with dogs, but you can even tell that dog doesn't know anything else, and you could tell that they were just happy to be with their person. So no matter if you're just giving them the life that all you can do for them, I think that's just important. Let's see. Y'all better hit that like. Thank you, Wayne. Wayne, you're so supportive. Wayne, if you want to join our chat tomorrow, Max is hosting, Crystal, myself, and Ted at noon. If you want to hop on, I can email you the link in the morning, or you could just join and I'll send it that way. I feel like we need to have a girls' night. I feel like Misty, myself, Dom C, we need to do a full on girls live, and I think people would love it. take the boys out for a little bit and we will do an all girls panel. I think that would be amazing. Oh, I adopted a calico 3 years ago. She's my bestest. That's so sweet. Crystal's crime board. We'll get everyone on it. Not going to say what's happening with the homeless adult. I don't even want to know. Please don't share that information with me. That would be fun, right, Deanna? An all girls panel, and I think we would kill it. 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Wayne, tomorrow. Fur babies deserve to be spoiled. They do. I literally buy my dog anything that it wants. He doesn't know what he wants. I have an LL Bean bed for him upstairs. I have a bed downstairs in my office, in the living room, and in the basement because and he has a day bed outside because I never know when he needs to be comfy. Liam said, sometimes I've got more heart towards an animal compared to an ungrateful, narcissistic person. That's totally, yeah, I agree. Because they're never going to talk back to you. And they're always going to be there for you. They love you unconditionally. And that's why we have to always take care of our dogs to the best, or any animal that you have. Just be there for them, take care of them, love them. Definitely want to adopt a dog next. But I am getting sleepy. It's only 9:30 here, but I want to read a little bit. I'm reading a really good book right now. I'm actually behind on my book club. Max beat me. You have a nice house, BK ground. Animals, she won't be if she hits my foot again. I used to have a rescue. They all went to Rainbow too. Oh, I'm sorry, Linda. But you know what? They're still around you and they're still with you. I totally believe that. Good night, Michelle. Thanks. And have to catch my live shows. Give Fritz a kiss. He's literally right here, plastered to the ground, waiting for me to go upstairs. But yeah, any other questions? Do you have any questions for me before I log off tonight? The next few weeks are going to be really exciting with you guys. Like I said, I have someone who is, let's plan a girls' night. Let me know. I definitely will. And I think we should do, whoever drinks, we'll do wine for it, or whatever you prefer drinking. We'll have some wine. We'll do some chatting. It'll be like we're all together. We could do a pajamas too, pajama and wine night, and we'll chat true crime. That would be amazing. That is like my ideal night. Like, why can't I have any girlfriends here that enjoy doing stuff like that? I guess I could put a wig on Max and just tell him to do that. But yes, my next plan. Can we see your fur baby? He's down here. Fritzy, do you want to get up, honey? He's like plastered to the ground. Oh, Dom, great. Yeah, so get your fuzzy jammies out. Get your wine glass ready. Oh, I'm sorry, Jody. 6 broken bones. That's awful. But yeah, let's plan that. We should do that this week. Maybe I can put us in a group chat, or maybe I'll just email everyone and we can plan. Max does have actual pink fuzzy wicked jammies, so maybe I can get him to put those on and a wig if we do want him, or we strictly want to be all girls. It doesn't matter, but I think that'll be fun. Jammies, wine, and true crime. Ooh, that rhymes. Girls always do wine and girls' nights. Leave me out. No, I like sun cruisers too. They're really good. They're very tasty, but I haven't had wine in a while, but it makes my teeth really purple. So you guys are probably going to be like, what is happening right now when you see me? Oh no, Jaylene, I'm sorry. You need to go get that checked out. But also I can show you this. Chris says I'm in then. Yeah, Chris, no boys allowed. But anyway, the designer I work for, one of the designers, the man, he made me this for Fritz. Isn't that so sweet? He made me a sketch of my dog, which I love. We named gowns after him. Wayne said I'm wearing a wig and sneaking in. That's hilarious. If I would actually die, if we're on an all girls panel and the guys joined in wigs and fuzzy jammies, I think the internet would really appreciate that. Do you guys love that? I do. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah, that's so funny. I'm just like cracking myself up. Let's see. Oh, Missy, I think I got your email. I'll go through that later. Thanks for the great show, lover chatters. Yeah, TC, thank you so much for being here. Something like for change, some laughter. Yeah, especially when you come off of that was a long interview with Rob, and coming off of that, I think having these conversations with people is really nice. And I feel like it's important when I get to chat with you guys and really look through the chat and see what you guys are saying. I try to be as focused in the lives that I'm doing, but I'm also trying to see what you guys are chatting about as well. I can picture Alex in a wig and sneaking in. That would be hilarious. Like a little bob or something. Max has one that has like literally side bangs and like really tight perm. Maybe I'll have him bring that to Arizona for his interview at Nanos. Let's see. Yeah, any other questions before I head out tonight? I have a really busy work schedule for the next few days. I was in Block Island over the weekend, which is why I am so tan right now. But yeah, I have a lot of stuff coming up. I'm traveling to Chicago in the coming weeks, and then I have Fashion Week. I have model showings after that. It's just a very busy few weeks. But in the midst of that, we are going to Arizona, and we are bringing you guys with us. Good night, guys. I gotta go walk my fur baby. Oh, Charlie Bear, that's a cute name. Yeah, I see, Fritz. I'm so glad you made this channel. You're doing an awesome job. I enjoy watching your lives. You're so sweet. Thank you so much, Janet. Yeah, and you guys are the real ones, all the ones that show up. Like, I know all of your names that are always here and always supporting. I see you. I see you all of the time. I thank you. Go Jim, pets and treats for Charlie Bear. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, you guys are all amazing. When are you going to Tucson? Lisa, I'm not giving the exact date because I know some people can be crazy and I don't want them finding me while I'm there, but it is in the coming weeks. It's going to be very, very soon. Oh my God, thank you so much, Misty. You're so sweet. You're so beautiful as well. I think that we make a very powerful couple, like we're dating. Me, you, Dom, C, all of the girls at Crystal's Crime Board. I think all the girls can take over and just assist the guys. And like I said, girls' night, true crime, wine, and pajamas. It'll be awesome. I am, Nina. I'm reading and answering. Oh, wait, I didn't see anything that you previously said, though, Nina. The chat has been moving kind of quick, but you can keep writing in here and I will respond. Yeah, partnership. So much partnership on here. So many new friends, which has been amazing. That's been really fun for me because, like I said, not many people. Shabby, did you hear that the girls are leaving us? 857, if you come with a wig on, we will let you join in. But yeah, I think maybe we can have Max join. Like I said, he does have fuzzy, wicked jammies, but I'm literally going to come in pajamas. I'm going to have my wine. I'm going to have my notes. And I think that'll be really fun. I have Dom C's work schedule. She texted me. So Misty, I'll text you and we can, oh my God, thank you, Liberty Just for All, 10 gifted memberships. That's amazing. You guys are all so nice. Wow. So many people got them. But I think you guys will enjoy the girls' chat. Do you guys like my new heels on the ground behind me? Red heels. Okay, Lisa Kennedy, 7564, Amanda Chanel 80, Deanna D, Rondavis, Black on Track with Cat, Cindy D, TX Doxy Mom. You guys all became new members. Thank you so much to Liberty and Justice for All. Oh my God, yeah, Lisa, if 857 comes with a wig, that will be hilarious. I would die laughing. Same with you, Wayne. Wayne, if you show up with a wig, you and Chris and Shibby, everyone else, that would be absolutely amazing. But yeah, Misty, we need to coordinate our pajamas. We need to make sure that we're all dressed for the occasion. It's a ladies' night and I'm feeling all right. Yes. Maybe Dom C can make a song for it, like specifically for the ladies' night. I literally only wear like pajama sets. I'm obsessed with pajama sets. So maybe I'll break one out for you guys. I have shark ones. I have nice ones too, but I do have avocados. I have sharks. I have, oh, Misty, you're at 111 subscribers. You're going to blow through the roof once you get on there and start doing lives. People love you. Deanna. Oh, I'm coming with the wig and makeup. That is hilarious. Yes, please do. I would really enjoy that. I'm a naturalist. I hate chemicals. Yeah, I try not to do anything. We'll get matching silk. Yes, I do have a silk pajama set. It's kind of like orangey. It's actually really cute. I don't know if it's like for this though. Maybe I'll send you some stuff. Love you. We investigate. It's great to see you. Thanks for gifting the memberships. Yeah, thank you so much, Beach Girl, for being here. My number one girl is in the chat. Speaking of 7, he's just coming on live. Oh, well, 857, have a good live. I will hop on yours and say hello to everyone. Yeah, but thank you so much, everyone who's here. Oh, Angel Eyes, thank you for having us. We enjoyed singing to you. Max played his instrument. I forgot the name of that instrument that he has. It was like a long guitar thing. I don't know. A ukulele? No, it wasn't a ukulele. I'm not even going to say it because I can't remember. But Angel Eyes, thank you so much for having us and introducing me to all your other friends because I didn't know a lot of them. Everything, anybody just getting news from the White House YouTube channel. I don't follow it. I probably should. Misty, what is your channel? Oh, Misty, people want to know Misty, the debut should be for girls' night. You should come on your new channel for girls' night. That would be amazing. Long guitar thing. Yeah, it was a long guitar thing and it had a pick, but I don't think it was a guitar. I don't know, but I'm going to end this tonight because I'm getting delirious. And I want to go get ready for my work day tomorrow. But thank you so much for everyone who's been here. Again, we'll be live tomorrow on Max's channel, myself, Crystal, see, it's that time of day, Crystal's Crime Board. She's been awesome too, by the way. Everyone's been so sweet. Call me Sue Michelle. Yeah, Misty, I will call you so we could plan this week. And then, yeah, I think maybe like a big group chat. I don't know. I'll chat tomorrow too on the live. And maybe we can get that situated. I think it's going to be so much fun. Yeah, tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, it said, silence your cell phone, sit back, and welcome to the golden age. Oh, I love you too, Misty. Good night. Good night, everyone. I am going to hop off. I hope you had a great time with me and listening to what Rob said. And thank you to everyone who's been so sweet and in the chat and gifting memberships and super chats. Everything. You guys are all amazing, and I'm so excited to bring you guys to Arizona and to everything else that I'm going to be doing with you guys moving forward. But good night. I have to tend to my sweet pup, and we're going to go to bed. Good night, Dom. I'm going to text you tomorrow, Dom, but actually I'll wait because I know you work late. And then we'll plan to meet you, Misty, everyone else. Peace be with you, Nina. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everyone. Beach Girl, thank you so much. I'm glad that you made it. We're at 3 hours and 18 minutes. It's been a long time since I have been on here by myself and did a one-on-one interview. So I am so happy that I got to bring you guys along. Thank you so much, John. Oh, Dom, you're off tomorrow. Okay, good. So I'll text you. And then if you want to hop on the panel tomorrow, Dom, that would be great. But yeah, good night, everyone. Sweet dreams. Thank you, Angel Eyes, for always modding. Oh, Angel Eyes, go listen to Dom C's song. You're in it. It's really good. I listened to it again today. I can't stop singing it. I forgot the name of it, Dom, but I'll send it to you, Angel Eyes. It's so good. You're in it. Thank you to everyone for being here, subscribing and liking. You guys are all amazing, and we're going to keep doing this. But, oh, thank you, Missy. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a great night. Sweet dreams. Enjoy the rest of your week. Make it a positive one, and do something that you wouldn't normally do for one another. What I usually do is I'll either buy the person behind me a coffee, or I'll send someone a Venmo, things like that. Do something that you normally wouldn't do to make someone's day better. And if you can't do that, just wish the best for someone else. And I think that's super important. But love you all. Good night. Thank you so much for an amazing stream. And I'll be back tomorrow. Good night.